You can support this show by throwing a much appreciated $1 down at patreon.com/Cameron_Adair, and by writing a quick review on iTunes, and by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. Links to both of these are in the description of every show. You now have the ability to leave a voice message for the show from your phone or computer, also through a link in the description. This is the Cameron Adair podcast with me, Cameron Adair. This is episode 18. Today on the show is Adam Miltenberger. Adam works for a company that brings celebrities into the Chinese market by partnering them with Chinese tech companies like Alibaba and WeChat. Adam's also been tour managing and managing musicians for 9 years and recently stopped. He also works backline at the Pantages Theater in Hollywood. We recorded this episode at my studio in Echo Park. We covered both of us leaving our jobs recently, living in Los Angeles, technology, music management, music business, the state of the music industry, and China. Here's Adam. How's your day going? What's Adam's
it's
Wednesday or Tuesday?
Busy day.
What's the typical Tuesday for Adam?
Well, I like to think there is no typical Tuesday. That's kind of the goal, but usually waking up earlier than I want to, making the mistake of checking my phone. A lot of messages come in because now doing business in China, and so also have people in Sydney and London, so just getting like business stuff at all hours. Then you wake up, you gotta go to the bathroom, you really want to go back to bed, but then you check your phone. You start thinking about all this stuff, and then you get up and start answering emails, I guess. Yeah. I try to do a little bit of landscaping every day. I'm really into that.
Let me close this window. It's gonna get hotter than. It's gonna get hot as shit.
I'm gonna take my shirt off and sweat it out. Yeah.
Now we're pro. Now we're coming in pro.
Yeah, this is warm.
We're coming in pro here.
Yeah, love it.
Turn up the heat. Turn up the professionalism.
Should probably light those candles. Get it really real steamy in here.
That was equipment on too, which doesn't help.
How was your Tuesday? What's your Tuesday like?
Pretty good actually. Today's going good. I got this in the mail. This Eventide H3000.
Okay. Yeah.
In the mail, and I installed the new EP ROMs inside it. So it has all the presets from 1 to 999.
That's a lot.
All the aftermarket, just upgraded it, soldered them in there.
Whoa.
Didn't break it, which was good.
Yeah.
But good, That's always a good little Christmas present.
Yeah. Christmas in July.
Yeah. But I quit my job on Friday.
Nice.
So things have been a little weird.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
So yeah, when it's not Christmas, I'm kind of trying to tackle that new problem that's presented itself.
Why'd you quit? Was it just
It was horrible. I mean, the money. I mean, I do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Besides that, but I was a contractor for a gig economy company.
Yeah.
It wasn't ride sharing or anything like that, but it was the pay was really good. But it's just
they treat us like shit.
Yeah.
And it's been like 10 months of it. So I was pulling in a lot of cash. There's only a handful. There's maybe a dozen. There's probably less than 30 people that work for this company in LA. And so it's not huge. But it just was becoming abusive.
Really?
And so, I just couldn't deal with it. And then me and my partner quit.
Dang. Well, good for you. On to new endeavors.
Yeah.
It's tough quitting. I'm sure you probably put up with it for way longer than you should have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And then it's kind of an interesting feeling, I think, when you finally do quit and you're like, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. And I probably should have done it a while ago.
Yeah.
And it feels good.
Yeah. But I mean, I was hanging in there for those paychecks.
Yeah. Well, those are good. Paychecks are good.
Yeah.
Money's good.
Yeah. Admittedly, the guy I was working with, is probably the best job either of us have ever had as far as,
pay-wise. Wow. Dang.
Like I was making as much as my girlfriend, who's, the head of a corporate department.
Damn.
So.
Damn. Well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, every month I would say, I'm gonna grit my teeth.
Yeah.
Like for another round of this.
Yeah.
And until I reach some goal. But.
Yeah. Did you have a goal? Was there a goal?
I did. Yeah. I was gonna quit the end of August.
Yeah. But why not? You were just
just some interaction reached the boiling point.
Yeah.
It couldn't be said. Like it was. Yeah. Just got another fight with the corporate office in San Francisco. So
that's wild. Yeah, so I had quit a job recently too. And it was sort of like, I had some like family members that passed away, which were not unexpected, but it still makes you like, or at least it made me think more about, life is short and it's, you don't know how long you have. And so why waste any time doing stuff you don't love doing or being around people that, or just being in negative environments or something like that. So that was kind of like my catalyst for making a life change, was just like, I just don't want to waste another day not doing something that's, I don't know, fulfilling. So you'll find your new fulfilling thing.
So you had a existential moment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
I've had several, but
Saturn's return.
Yeah, it must be something to do with Mercury in retrograde or something in the outer space throwing off my chakras or whatever.
It could be it.
I don't know much about that stuff. My chi, that's the thing. My chi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, line that chi.
Yeah.
Yeah, so up here in the corner of this hill, I see there's always like skunks that walk by here.
Yeah.
One time because I can see up the hill through the mirror right behind you at the top.
Sure.
And I looked out there and there was a coyote.
Oh, wow.
I was taking a piss and just staring at me.
Yeah.
And like we just stared at each other while she was urinating.
Yeah.
And we just stared it out. And then she left.
And went on her way.
Yeah.
I had a moment with a squirrel the other day. I always sort of like fantasize about having moments with wild animals where they, I don't know, like climb up on your shoulder and you feel like, was it like Snow White or something? Or, I don't know. It almost happened.
Where the squirrel
I thought he was going to drink
shoulder.
some water out of my hand. and he got really, really close, and then he just ran on by me.
Huh.
Yeah.
He wanted that water.
He really, yeah. It was cool. That's probably the closest I've been to some wild animal interaction, I think. But yeah, it's exciting. It was cool. But now you know what I'm dealing with. Speaking of wild animals, I'm dealing with I believe they're called pocket gophers.
No.
Do you know what these are?
No.
They're small rodents that burrow and tunnel, and they just like destroy. Like if you walk around LA and you go to any grassy area and you see holes, it's pocket gophers tunneling through. And
Okay.
they'll yank, they'll grab a plant by the roots and they will just yank it, and you'll just watch it like get sucked in a hole like a cartoon.
To eat it?
They eat it. Yeah, they destroy everything. So it's like totally Caddyshack over at my place right now, where I've got various pocket gopher defense and some poisonous things.
Oh, so they're fucking with your landscaping.
They're fucking with my landscaping, yeah.
Yeah.
And the house is on a hill, so they're like, it's this hill that I've got to keep just to maintain the structural integrity of the home. I can't be having pocket gophers destroying the foundation of this hillside.
I mean, so you're making improvements to
Absolutely.
a rental property.
Yeah. I have an interesting situation with the landlord.
Oh?
Yeah. It's cool. I have a fantastic deal on the house, and part of the whole, being selected to live there was because I have the ability to fix things. And so I just fix stuff and then deduct it from my rent.
Oh.
And it's, yeah.
So you're not exactly the maintenance guy. You're not exactly the manager. You're
just the man.
Just got this deal.
Yeah.
You got this deal worked out.
It's great. I feel very fortunate because I like doing that stuff. So it's fun. And I am just like, I don't know, paying my rent throughout the month. And then when rent comes due, like today, it's not as big of a situation.
That actually sounds nice.
That's
I wish
great.
they would deduct my rent so I could build a mini ramp in the back, but I don't think they want that.
Well, that's, you just got to convince them that they need it. And it'd be tough, but it's worth a shot. Worst I can say is no. Get out, leave. But, well, they won't say that. They'll say no. So what do you guys usually talk about on your podcast? I assume it's like, is it music focused or is it like all over the place?
It's all over the place. When I started, it was when I was moving out of San Francisco, and a lot of the focus was the tech industry is destroying mankind. And aside from that, it's a lot of it's just kind of. We did one episode with we recorded it in the Westerfield House, which is this house in Alamo Square in San Francisco that was owned by Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan. And we did it inside his Lion Togar's tower.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of it was just having an experience, just doing something.
Wow.
I mean, obviously you can't see the house on a podcast.
Yeah.
So we're just hanging out.
Yeah. You can probably hear it in your voice, and
yeah, weird.
That's wild.
So yeah, it's really no focus. It's just It's not music. I mean,
that's cool.
We got a skateboard photographer. I'm gonna have a pro skater on this season.
Yeah.
And photographer was the last episode. And then before that, the guy who does music for commercials and like reality shows.
Yeah.
So yeah, just
right on.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
We can talk about music. I mean,
we can talk about whatever. whatever you're into.
Well, what kind of landscaping are we talking here?
Mostly stuff that, like drought tolerant. But then, like I said, this house is on a hillside, really steep. And it grows, like that grass grows on it. But then the grass dies, the grass falls down.
Yeah.
And the city makes you remove that grass because it's a fire hazard. So I have to I didn't have to. I wanted to do it. I volunteered, but I tied a rope to the deck and then, what's it called? Rappelled down the hillside with a rake.
Oh, it's that steep, the hill.
Yeah, you can't. It's super
It's not
steep.
like, this is a hill.
No.
You're like,
this is a cliff. It's
cliff.
a cliffside home. Yeah.
Where's there? You're not by the ocean, are you? You're right here.
No, I like to just make it sound a lot fancier than it is.
Cliffside.
Yeah, it's
beachfront.
cliffside. It's freeway front property. Which that's funny. I've never used that term freeway front property, but we do joke about how the traffic sounds like the ocean. And when traffic is horrible, it's the best because that's low tide. And then at night or whatever, when the freeway's wide open, then that's high tide and it's loud. And last night there was a crazy accident. I actually called, well, that was exciting. This is an exciting thing to talk about on a podcast. I called 911, which I haven't done in a while. Not a lot of opportunities to call 911, but I've been watching first I was watching that, Who is America? Who is America? Sacha Baron Cohen, his new show.
Oh, yeah.
On Showtime.
I have not seen it.
Yeah, it's okay. But I've been watching.
And this somehow turned into an emergency. Watching the show.
Then I've been into Ken Burns' Vietnam War series. I love Ken Burns.
Cool.
And it's fantastic. And then I heard these like gunshots, or what I thought were gunshots. And I didn't want to run outside because I'm exposed, And then I thought, well, maybe it was just fireworks. So I went out to look, and then we usually see a lot of, the house like overlooks the 5. And usually we'll see, there's people, I don't know, they're probably texting and driving, and they rear end people. And so we see that a lot. But this was like a lot weird. And so I was sitting on the porch, and I was watching this car with their flashers on. There's kind of some trees in between, so I couldn't see what was going on. I was like, well, surely like some like police are going to come and, handle the situation. And nobody ever came. I was like, okay, I'm going to give it 3 more minutes. And if nobody comes, I'm going to call up 911.
You don't get in trouble for not calling.
You don't get in trouble for not calling.
You could just call it right.
And I'm definitely thinking, am I going to get in trouble for calling?
No,
it's not like a...
Yeah, you don't get in trouble for like if 2 people call.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, hey, sorry, you're blowing up our line. Cool it. No, no one had apparently reported it. So I did a good deed. And then it took 14 minutes for the first responders to show up, which I thought was maybe a bit long. But I don't know.
It was police or fire or ambulance?
Police. It was police came in a tow truck, and I guess it maybe ended up not being as severe as it sounded, which is good for everyone involved.
So what you heard was cars colliding.
Yeah, I heard cars colliding. But yeah, I don't know.
That's funny because yesterday I was walking down my steps here.
Yeah.
And I heard horn screech.
Oh, you got to hear the...
Yeah, I heard it.
Usually it's the horn screech and then nothing, and you're like,
No, and it was loud too. That happened yesterday.
Damn.
I walked the other way, so I didn't look. But then later on, I saw a car that was on the curb.
Yeah, just smashed.
It was the whole front was smashed in.
Aye.
And obviously they didn't tow it away. But I'm guessing what I heard.
Wow.
So what happened? So you called?
I didn't see what happened. I called. They just showed up. The car that was sitting there with the flashers on, like the police sort of escorted that car down the 5 South, which my first instinct was like, whoa, what amazing power. I just shut down the 5 South because cars came to a complete stop.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, I'm just this little guy over here, and all of these people are so angry right now that they're stopped on the freeway, and it's because of me. And I did take a little bit of pleasure in that. I thought it was great.
Walk out there and
yes, wanted to destroy something beautiful, I think is the So I did that, and then I looked down to the right. Farther down, there was 2 more cars with flashes on. So the police like escorted the first car down to where it maybe like corralled all the cars, but then it cleared up pretty quickly.
One thing that surprised me after moving here is that I'm pretty sure in any other major city, if there's a collision, then the first line of action is to get the cars out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
But in LA, no one really seems to care.
I think everyone's confused on what to do. I think you're supposed to, if you can move out of the way, you're supposed to get out of the way.
Get out of the way, yeah. Or even the cops that's why they have those things on the front of the car. They'll just push you. I've been pushed off off ramps by cops after an accident.
Whoa. Dang.
But then here,
you've been in a lot of accidents?
I have, actually.
Really? What? What's up with that?
I don't know. I think if you're maybe I'm just a California thing. It's a regional.
Is it your fault?
No. My fault.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, I've been in a bad car accident actually, but my fault. I don't know. 3 that were my fault.
Dang. That's a lot. Well, I guess I've had 2.
Yeah.
My fault.
But so here, people just, like even the cops, and traffic is like the main way people get around here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's really surprising to me that nobody cares. They just block up every freeway with an accident. Every time there's like traffic, it's because of an accident, right?
Yeah.
Like 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
Well.
And I'm aggressive too. Like if I see someone because people will just be sitting in their car on the freeway here.
Yeah.
Like stopped, your car broke. And like everyone just sort of waits patiently and then goes around. Like I'll just hold my horn down. Like you're not supposed to sit.
You should install one of those bumper things and push them off.
Yeah,
I think that's the solution.
Yeah, I think I have a right to do that as a
right
civilian,
and
a duty.
Let's say responsibility. It's not really responsibility, but it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get to push a car off the road. That's cool. I drive a big truck, and I like it. And I should probably put a bumper thing on too, so I can push people around.
Yeah, and a winch.
Yeah. Ooh, a winch would be cool. I just got my windows tinted. I feel like I'm in high school, and I just got my first vehicle, and I'm, putting like stickers on it and any accessory that I can get.
On your truck?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not putting stickers on it, but I did get my windows tinted. They needed it.
You need like a cool, Neff sticker?
Yeah. Or, something like I don't know, like some sort of active sports logo or something, just so people know that I'm, I don't know,
from
like outdoorsy, like active. Yeah, from possibly Orange County. I mean, the Midwest is kind of, that's where I'm from, and that's kind of Orange County-ish, minus the beach and good Mexican food, I guess. But yeah. I don't know why the whole thought of my hillside and the freeway overlooking reminded me. This is a very important, I'm going to get mildly political, maybe not political, but social responsibility. This is an interesting thing for your podcast.
Good.
I'm like constantly racking my brain for interesting things. I moved into this house and everybody's cars were getting broken into. Like immediately I moved in, and like everybody on the street had windows smashed, and someone attempted to steal the truck I was driving. And because all the houses are like up the hill, right? You know, off the street. I was like, this is crazy. I mean, what do you do? You know, I mean, everybody's car windows were getting smashed. And there was no street lights. There was not a street light here. And I thought, well, I'll call and I'll get it. I'm going to see if I can get a street light put in. And I was asking all the neighbors, I was like, what's up with this? Like, have you guys been dealing with this? Oh, yeah, you know, we've been dealing with it. I'm like, oh, well, we should do something about it. Oh, there's nothing. You can't do anything about it. You're going to call. You know, you put in a request. Nobody calls you back. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to do anything. I was like, you know what? That's bull crap. That's bull crap. I'm going to figure this out. So I made one call. Well, it wasn't one call. It was probably 3 to 5 calls because I had to get to the right person. But once I figured out what to do, so if there's a pole, a utility pole in town, in Los Angeles, and it's wood, that is controlled by LADWP. And you can call LADWP, and they have a street light or an outdoor lighting division, and you can request outdoor lighting. So if you have like a parking lot,
replaced?
No, you can get outdoor lighting installed on your house anywhere you want. They'll come and they will install it for no fee, but you pay a small monthly maintenance thing, cancel it anytime, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you want a street light on a utility pole, they'll do it for free. And so I called, and this like real country sounding guy, talked to him. Say, hey, we need a street light. Everyone's cars are getting broken into. Okay. Like, how long is it going to take? He's like 2 weeks, maybe 2 months, but probably 2 weeks. I was like, okay. And maybe like 3 weeks later, they came out and put in new street lights, and there's not been a problem.
So you're not they're not replacing like the sodium bulbs. You're talking about they installed it on the utility pole.
The utility pole in front of my house did not have a street light. So they put in a fresh new, peeled the plastic film off the glass like you do. You know, they did that. And then down the street, or down just a little bit farther, there was the old, what is sodium?
Yeah, it's like metal halide or
like
high
very
pressure
orange
sodium.
Yeah, they replaced that one. And it was good. And there's no issues since.
Fuck yeah.
And my neighbors were all like, wow, it's amazing. And it got me thinking. I was like, you know what? You're
the sheriff now.
Well, that's another interesting thing too. Maybe the reason why I'm here is to start campaigning for, there's kind of a joke that I'm going to run for mayor of Elysian Gulch, which is a partially fictional neighborhood in Los Angeles. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want my fans coming and stalking my house. But yeah, I just think
you need private security.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't afford that right now. You know, can't afford private security. But
may or may not be Elysian Gulch.
Yeah. Good luck finding that. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it just made me think. Like, I wonder how many things just go unfixed, and how many people just deal with. People get angry. They're angry because they're like, I don't like how this thing is, but they don't do anything about it. They don't make the call because they just think like, oh no, they don't care. They're not going to do anything. And so it's like you would rather just be angry about the situation than do any like little thing to rectify the situation. I thought it was, I don't know. I thought it was an interesting thing. And then it got me thinking just about like, politics or government in general, and how like we don't really hold anybody accountable for anything because we don't want to like deal with it. And then we just like deal with bullshit because we just don't really want to be troubled with things. So I think it's an interesting, I'm guilty of it too. So
yeah.
Except in this instance, I wasn't. But
what is it that keeps people from doing that? Are they cynical? Are they stupid? that's not fair to say someone's stupid, but
no, I think we're
that's
all
kind of a
pretty
blanket term.
selfish. Like, it's not my problem.
not my
It's
problem.
it's your problem. You know, there's another thing too that I've thought about with like roommates. Dishes. You've probably had roommates and dishes and
Yeah, I've been there.
you know, like I'm not washing their dishes. It's their dishes. I'll let those dishes pile up, you know, and spill out onto the floor. I'm not washing their dishes. That's their dishes.
Yeah, I
But-
understand that.
But do you want a clean kitchen? Would you rather have a clean kitchen or would you rather have a sink full of dishes?
Right, that's the thing. But once you do one, then you're doing everybody's dishes after that.
Yeah. So I guess the solution is figure out how to not have roommates.
Right. No, that was my solution. Yeah.
Yeah.
After.
That is the solution. I don't know, but I guess I was thinking while you're in that situation, if what you want is a clean kitchen, then you should do the dishes, and you should do everybody's dishes if they will not do the dishes, because, or you have to balance. Would I rather complain about a sink full of dishes,
Yeah.
or have a clean kitchen?
Right. Or complain about having to clean the kitchen.
What's more important to you? I don't know. It could be. Maybe people like complaining. Maybe we like complaining or something. I don't really know. I mean, I wish you had like, you know, you could open the phone lines and somebody could call in and people could give their
Yeah.
thoughts.
We do. Yeah. We have the ability now to make outgoing calls, but to get an incoming call, you know, we need to tell people when we're on the air ahead of time.
Yeah. Well,
So I could pause it, call someone and tell them to call in.
yeah. Well,
Or you could tweet it out. You're not on social media, right?
Well, I mean, I am sort of.
I could do a...
Facebook is no longer considered social media, it seems. I mean, it is social media, but I think when people say, are you on social media, they're referring to Instagram.
Yeah, that's popular.
Yeah, because Facebook is just like what, an ad?
Oh, yeah, it's just
Machine.
spam data mining
Yeah.
machine at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just, they know more about you than you know about yourself.
Yeah.
They can sell you.
No longer do you get to like check out photos of the girl that sits in front of you in some college lecture hall.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, I feel like Facebook's bigger in San Francisco. I don't know why. It just seemed, or maybe it was a timing thing. It was more popular when I was living there.
Mm-hmm.
But I always wondered, what, like my friends in LA, is like, well, they never post on Facebook, but all my San Francisco friends do.
Yeah.
And then I moved here, and well, then I just completely stopped doing it.
Yeah. Are
But
you
yeah,
off? You're off completely?
No, I don't go on there.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah. Next season, if you have me back, then we can field some calls.
Yeah, that's fun. I think you could call that
Yeah.
that
We could just call a random number and ask them how they feel about
call.
social responsibility.
How do you feel about toxic tribalism?
Yeah. What's up with dishes? Do you have dishes in your sink currently? Are they yours?
Is your refrigerator running?
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. That's classic. Classic. Wow. Yeah, social media is, I'm gonna delete my Facebook again soon. Surprisingly easy process. I mean, it's an easy thing to do. Again, that's probably like quitting a job or something, or breaking up with a significant other, where you're just like, oh, I should do it. I know I should do it, but what if I don't want to miss out on this one little thing, and like it's hard, and what if, I don't know, whatever. But then you do it, and like 3 days later, you're just like, wait, what was Facebook?
Yeah.
That blew my mind at how easy it was to.
That's because I would do it because I don't believe, like, I disagree with the the politics of it. I just think they're evil, and I and I don't like the people that surround the tech industry or the way that they.
What did you think Facebook was when you first started using it? Did you think it was purely a social network and there was no, you weren't being sort of like, having your information harvested and you had you were like a naive user of, because I was at first.
Yeah, I guess I thought it was benevolent, that there was no chance of it, of something like that happening.
Mm-hmm.
But they lie to you. Undoubtedly, they're lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
They're using you.
Yeah.
And they're not being honest about it. I mean, if it was like there was some clear reward for giving them all your information and letting them do that, but there's not. It's all black box. Black box.
Yeah.
They even they've done tests before where they'll take a part of the users and they'll like change their feed to show them only negative things.
Wow.
And then those people will start to post more negative stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I'm not sure at what point it was where maybe when I started using like Facebook ads for like music stuff, and then realizing that you're not going to reach, more than like 5% of your fan base unless you boost posts. And it was like, oh yeah, of course. Like this is a whole like data mining thing.
Yeah.
And yeah. And now I see like Facebook advertisements where they're trying to be very, I hate, it's like when McDonald's starts making their hamburgers out of beef again. They're like, hey, millennials, like, how much we care about you, that our burgers are now made with beef. And you're like, wait, what were they made out of before? And did you not care about us then? Or what? Huh? So I see these ads where Facebook is like, look, fake news is not your friend and fake profiles is not your friend. This is a place for friends. Maybe that's the waste of your time and marketing. Like nobody is gonna fall for thinking Facebook gives a shit about you because they see a bus stop that has this sign. Like they should just say like, hey, you like to buy stuff. You maybe don't like to spend a lot of time online shopping for it. So just use our thing. We're going to hammer you with products that you probably want to buy. Mm-hmm. You can even tell us if you like that product or don't, and we can further tailor our delivery of sales pitches to you. I think people would find that more valuable.
Right.
And it's like honest.
Right. Well, the thing about technology is it's all packaged in such a way to where people think that it's useful. It's providing some kind of use, like we're advancing humanity. Mm-hmm. But that's not true. That's just psychosocial insanity. And what it really is some of the biggest fortunes in history have been created on the backs of just everybody believing that this is the answer to something.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah.
And that's, what I saw in San Francisco.
Sure.
Happen.
You made me think of something though. You said advancing humanity.
Yeah, like, the
what are we advancing to?
Fetish.
What are we like, what is the goal of humanity that we're advancing towards, in your opinion?
Well, if you look at some of the leaders in the tech industry, they take it to extremes. Mm-hmm. Where, for example, Peter Thiel thinks that he's going to live for hundreds of years by doing fecal transplants and injecting baby blood or whatever he does. You know, Kurzweil thinks that we're somehow going to become one with computers.
Yeah.
So,
He's
I mean,
still alive?
if you look at the extreme examples of what people mean by advancing human, like this is...
Yeah. Like
this
living
is the step
longer?
forward.
Is that what the thing is? Is like, that's how humans advance, is by living longer?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at it, that's where they see, you know, whether it's... That's how they see progress.
Yeah.
Is some kind of...
Wow.
But I think it's all... There's more of a capitalism aspect to it than there is a humanitarian aspect to it. They're not helping anyone.
Like.
Yeah.
It seems kind of selfish. Just do your time and then get out of the way. Right? Make room for like the next generation.
Yeah. I don't know. Is Facebook going to be passé? They just seem to be so far ahead of everybody. I mean, I was having this conversation, 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And then people, especially, it's not so in everybody's face in Los Angeles too. Like people in Santa Monica, where they see Snapchat come in, and they have no idea. Or if you work for a sharing economy company, people say, "Oh, this is the Uber of so and so." Like they have no idea that this is a whole. Like that's their reference point. It's like Uber.
Yeah.
But in Santa Monica, there's a whole evict Snapchat movement where the people that have been on what they're now trying to call Silicon Beach, people that have been living there for longer than this technology bubble has come along, are pissed because now there's bird scooters littering their neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to see them on the east side.
I know.
But their batteries are all dying. I see people riding on the east side, and then I just learned that if there's a red light flashing, that means it's dying. And I see a lot of confused people. They're like, "Why is my bird not going?" It's like, well, it's really far from home. It needs a charge.
They banned them in San Francisco.
Did they?
Yeah.
How are they? Do they get up hills?
I don't know.
How did not get? Do they not? I mean, don't people steal them? Like, wouldn't you just steal?
Yeah. The article that I read, one of the articles I read about it, talked about how there's about $50 to $100 worth of parts in there if you know what to do with a servo motor or battery.
Do they have GPS? They must have GPS tracking. So then you just disable the GPS, and then you just probably buy a charging cable from Amazon.
I don't know. Yeah, you could build something.
Yeah.
Sell it on eBay.
Wow, yeah.
But that to me, the bird thing to me is like, it's almost a joke. Like they're just, okay, somebody gave this company however many 8 digits. Okay, let's see if this can make some money. They just litter the street with this business plan with no regard for people. Yeah. It's almost like autistic the way that the tech industry works. It's like there's really low emotional intelligence and it's like a computer programmer. You wouldn't expect a computer programmer to be they're kind of be maybe a little socially tone deaf, because that's not the way their brain works. Sure. And if you take that approach to like hyper capitalism, that's what it is. It's like they just litter the street with these scooters to try and make a buck. Yeah. And everyone's like, do we like our phones or is this getting weird?
Yeah. I suppose there's still like a vast majority of people that love their phones. I mean, I even see like my parents and like that generation, like they're all getting iPhones now. If they recently they're getting iPhones, and my parents are like, "Oh, have you heard of this Pandora app? It like plays music for you." And you're like, "Oh wow, you guys are like us." many years ago, and there's a whole crop of I don't know, just new smartphone technology consumers.
Yeah. But do you trust your phone? I don't trust my phone for a minute. I mean, you know that they're
well,
it's gonna break when you update it.
Yeah, phones. I mean, that is the absolute like future. That's the worldwide goal. And I've been very interested in like emerging markets from doing this China. Because I'm fascinated by China. I've been fascinated by China for years, and then so there's even people that are looking beyond China as the next market, because you have, if you look at population projections over the next 10, 20, 30 years, China will drop out of the top 5 populations. Pakistan, Nigeria, Indonesia.
Quantity of people.
I mean, the world is zillions and zillions of people. There's just tons of people. And as technology gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
7 point something billion,
yeah,
right?
I mean, and we're going to put that many cell phones, if not multiple cell phones, and that, everyone will have a cell phone in each hand. That is the goal. Technology gets cheaper and it gets stronger and more powerful. We are connecting people. There will be less, need for laptop computers and desktop computers, because you just kind of have a smartphone in everybody's hands. I mean, that is the future. That's what's happening, and that's why, to go into music, like streaming, people are never going to buy music again. They'll buy physical, physical copies. They'll buy vinyl. They'll buy, I'm still surprised that people buy CDs, but people will still be buying, I guess, physical, maybe tapes, whatever. But streaming video content, Netflix, unplugging, cable cutting, like we are headed. The future is going to be a smartphone in every single person's hand.
Yeah.
So that is just something that we have to deal with. So, whether or not you're afraid of the smartphone or I mean, I don't know. You can probably get rid of your smartphone, and there's still gonna be enough people around you all the time with smartphones that you're still like getting
aware of.
There's a profile on you. You know? Like, that is just so I don't know. I guess you sort of think like,
what's it? Do you know about this Chinese company that their cell phones are banned in? They're supposed to be better because the top companies are obviously Apple and Samsung. And then the third company in the world is this Chinese company. Mm-hmm. And they've been banned in the United States because the technology is so good.
Yeah, well, it could be.
I forget what it's called.
Well, Vivo has a phone that has 19-day battery life.
Yeah.
I mean, Chinese technology is, and a lot of it is far superior to what we have. Chinese internet is blazing as long as you're surfing within the government imposed firewall.
Right. A lot of times what they do, if there's an emerging market, is they will create some law that controls it so that they can control it, and then they end up doing it better.
Totally.
Like they did that with Bitcoin, and it sounds like they did that with these cell phones. Like, you can't have the American internet here, so let's take that law to make our own, and let's make it better than the American internet, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of the Chinese way of business in a lot of ways?
You could, I suppose. I mean, I'm by no means an expert on Chinese business or China at all, but to me, it doesn't sound too much different than capitalism in the West. That's a big part. You buy a company and you shut it down. You use your might to block competition from the little guys. So I don't think that anything China does is, you can call it communist and you can call it whatever, but it's not any different than everyday practices in the West. I think there is this interesting thing where you have this older generation that's China's been around forever, It's such an old culture, and it's been China. It's been China for a long time. It hasn't gone through different like variations. Like it's been China.
Right.
So the older generations want to protect their culture, just like everyone who, is like a Donald Trump supporter wants to, protect this, idea of 1950s America that like, they think is like a real thing that you can get back again. You can't, So China is as progressive as it is not progressive, and but the other thing I will say about China too, and I get, I see why, I don't know, they have a massive consumer market. They've got money to spend. They know how valuable that is to the world. I think the company Tencent is maybe like the 7th largest company in the world, and it doesn't operate outside of China. So then if Tencent gets outside of China, it's going to become the biggest company in the world,
right.
Probably. So they're sort of like, I guess if it's a card game, and your hand that you're holding is this like massive population, then you're not going to let anybody come in and just start doing like selling stuff to your people. You're going to be like, whoa.
Well, okay, my main thing is, Apple's the biggest, if not one of the biggest corporations in the world, but I don't trust my phone.
Sure.
I don't trust my computer anymore.
You shouldn't. Why would you?
I don't trust them at all.
It's hard to trust human beings.
I mean, after going through this bullshit with the latest iPhone X, I bought a PC finally, which I haven't had.
Yeah. How is it?
It's great. It runs with Windows 95. Or
Is that the newest Windows?
No, the newest is Windows 10. It runs Windows, not 95, Windows 5.
Sam, you might have bought an old.
I did.
Maybe an old.
No, it's a 2005 ThinkPad.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much did that cost?
Just get $70.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
It's the same model that NASA uses in the space station.
Really? Tried and true.
Yeah.
Did you like research that before you bought it? Is that
I
why
did. I was like, I want a cheap beater PC.
Yeah.
And it did.
Wow.
I felt like I was gaining control back.
Yeah.
And I can do just pretty much simple things on it, right? You can't really run Photoshop on Windows 5. Is it 5? But you can do
like Solitaire and Minesweeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could do email and browse the internet.
Yeah.
But I might update it to 10.
Yeah, nice. It sounds like a good move.
Yeah, I don't trust my phone, I don't.
Yeah, well.
And I just found out yesterday that if you put an enterprise app on your phone, like one of those internal apps.
What is that?
Where you have to give it permission. Have you ever done that?
I feel like every app asks for permission, like permission to access your contacts or permission to access your photos.
Right. But if you have an enterprise app, which is like an internal app where it's not in the app store. So if you work for a gig economy company then you download their app. But I just found out yesterday that if you do that they have carte blanche permissions on your phone. They can read all your text messages, listen to your phone calls.
What?
They have access to they're called the personal APIs and the public APIs.
Wow.
So this company that I was working for, me and my partner and a couple of the contractors were convinced that they were not only reading our texts and listening to our phone calls, but deleting some of our texts.
Really?
Things like that, which is entirely possible.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm sure people don't know that. I mean, the amount of people that work for Lyft or Uber or
my gosh,
Postmates.
Yeah.
If they have nefarious intent, they can do whatever they want legally in your phone.
Even if they don't have nefarious intent, like they're still
too much
building
access.
a profile.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so crazy. I mean, just consumer data is the most valuable information that you can, and maybe that's what, maybe that's why there's birds littering everywhere. And it's not so much like, hey, we're passionate about moving people around in an eco-friendly way, without the need to park a car. Like, if we just give them the scooter, then we can monitor all of their traveling.
Yeah.
And that is valuable information to somebody.
That's funny, yeah.
I mean,
It's so
Uber,
true.
Lyft, like we're making money off of giving people rides, but what's really important is we're getting data on the way people move and building profiles on you, and then we can sell you some other shit.
Another friend of mine, he just got rid of his iPhone for a flip phone. Like you said, you just kind of accept it.
Mm-hmm.
And is it harder to do something about it, or is it harder to live with it?
Yeah.
And I put up with being in a big bank for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I just thought, like my parents or whatever told me to bank with Wells Fargo, and so that's what I did growing up. And then they still say, "Oh no, there's no way around it. This is just how banks treat you."
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And I found out that on my own by saying fuck you to them and figuring out what the better alternative is.
Yeah. What is the better alternative? Credit union?
At first I went with a credit union, but in my opinion, online banks, so Capital One, Ally, stuff like that are a lot better. But my point is this, that just like with the lights, that people just say, oh, that's just the way it is. Can't do anything about it.
I think people probably say, I say, I just don't feel like it. I'm too busy. And then you're probably saying oh, I'm too busy. I don't feel like it. While you're sitting on the couch, scrolling through your news feed.
Yeah.
You're actually not. We're not busy people.
Feed.
Yeah. Your feed. Feeding your feed, and then it's...
Eat that feed.
Yeah. I don't know.
We're getting existential right now.
I feel like I don't have a lot of friends because anytime I get together with anyone, it starts getting existential. I think it's the most interesting stuff because it's real, it's real stuff. And then I'm like, well, maybe I'm making people depressed because this shit doesn't depress me at all. It's just, it is what it is. This is the world that we live in. So we can not talk about it and it will continue, or we can talk about it and then maybe there will be some tiny changes in our lives that make life more fulfilling. But I don't know, I guess assuming that, well, whatever. I've had some experiences taking psychedelic substances that really opened my eyes to some things.
What do you like to do? I've experimented with some psychedelics, but it's never been my thing.
Yeah. And it's not everybody's things. And I would never go tell people to go take any, not even go take drugs, but not necessarily don't even drink or, I would just never recommend it because you have to have a personal interest in that thing. And it's not, drugs are not really anything I feel like you should be partying on. And in the party drugs, I feel are kind of a cop out because it's a guaranteed good time. And there's no learning experience there, And so you got to be really careful if you're doing that stuff because you can get carried away and become just a total idiot. But,
is that a public?
Yeah, it's a PSA.
Yeah.
Right there. Personally, I like to occasionally, very occasionally take LSD or something, and not so much into the mushrooms, but LSD I think is fine, but it's intense. But this one time I did it by myself, which was my favorite time, and I took more than I'd ever taken. And it was terrifying, but also at the same time, it was incredible. It was amazing, So I had this, epiphany where I was just like and it probably stems from like a lot of reading certain things. Like I've always been into Alan Watts, who's like sort of like a Eastern philosophy interpreter for the West. And, I guess sort of the big, like, I mean, the moral of the story is like everything's meaningless. Nothing has meaning, in my opinion. Everything's meaningless. And I like say that to people or explain that to people, and that depresses people. But to me, that's the most freeing thing that there is everything is meaningless. So Facebook is meaningless. Guns are meaningless. Everything is meaningless. We assign meaning to it, right? And like we can look at the same thing and we're going to assign different meanings to it. So what does it mean? What does the thing mean? It means, are you right? Am I right? Is somebody else right? Like things just exist. Everything just is. And it's all in how you use it or all in how you view it, So like, to me, Facebook's not evil. It's only evil if you're maybe behind the curtain, like spying on people with it. Then it's evil. Mm-hmm. But if you're some old lady that's like sharing pictures of your grandchildren, it's fantastic. Now, if you're the dude who's like looking at pictures of the grandchildren and like doing weird shit, then it's evil, So like, so what is Facebook then? Like to you, it's one thing. To somebody else, it's completely different.
Yeah, I guess. I think it.
Or what do you think about this plastic gun? This like 3D printed plastic gun?
Yeah, the what's it called? I forget what it's called, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I saw it was called 3D printed plastic gun.
No, there's a name for it. And the guy who invented it, he was a little celebrity for a while.
Yeah.
What do I think about it? I don't care. I will never own a 3D printer.
Yeah.
I don't think I will.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't think that
everybody should remember this moment, right?
Yeah. Go on record saying that.
Yeah.
I just think it's hysteria. It's
a lot of people
psychotic.
Who are really like.
It's about as important to me as Soylent.
Yeah.
I don't care. No one's Soylent. That'll be gone. I just want to close my eyes and then have it go away.
Yeah. What is Soylent? Is that the juice, the like containers of...
That's the containers that you don't have to eat anymore. Because we're living in a science fiction
I do like the coffee
future.
ones, but
I haven't tried it yet.
But
it used to
it's a nice protein boost.
Yeah.
When you need a little boost.
But it's supposed to replace eating food.
Oh, yeah. Well,
because we're living in the future.
Yeah.
Eating is cool.
Yeah, eating's great.
So yeah, okay. Everything's meaningless. I was thinking about that recently because I was watching, what's the movie about the Turing test?
I'm the last person to be asking about movie things.
Ex Machina. Ex Machina.
Yeah.
The robot asks him, "Are you a good person?"
Uh-huh.
And she's like a robot. She's AI, so she's supposed to be like she can see if someone's lying because she's a super being. But I was thinking about like that. How do you even answer that question?
Yeah.
Like, because you're saying, okay, everything's meaningless. And I understand what you say when you say that.
Mm.
But like, that's like saying, oh, is this good? Is that bad? Am I good? Is she bad?
Yeah.
If someone asks you if you're a good person, and I felt bad because I would say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that would be my honest answer.
Yeah.
And if they're lie detecting you, my truthful answer would be, I don't know.
Yeah. So if I say, are you a good person? You would say, I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you feel, is that because you feel like arrogant if you'd say yes? So the safe thing is, and then you don't want to say I'm bad.
What? I mean,
I don't know.
No. I mean, if I said yeah, I think that's shallow. I think that I would not be telling the truth. Am I a good person? I mean, I try to be. That's not really an answer, right?
Do you think you do more good things than bad things?
Good to what?
I don't know. I don't know. Humanity? I mean, is that the thing? Is humanity?
I guess, probably, other people, yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's meaningless anyways, then I don't know.
Yeah.
I think people are afraid to say, I don't know. You know, they're afraid to admit that they don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's scary.
Sure.
It's scary that you don't know. You don't know when you die. You don't know.
Yeah. That just made me think of two things. Mark Twain said something like, there are no unselfish deeds. Like ultimately everything is selfish. Like I give you a gift. It's because I'm going to get joy out of watching you open this,
Sure.
you know, Windows 95 laptop for $85 that I got. And it's going to make me feel good. And I also was listening to, Chris D'Elia, comedian?
Yeah.
I really like his podcast most of the time. His stand-ups is whatever, but his podcast I think is really funny. But he was like saying on this episode, he's like, what was he saying? He's like, you're always like changing or growing as a person. So you're like, I don't know, people would say like, you aren't anything until you like the moment right before you die. And that's what you are. Because you're always like constantly changing or something like that. But I guess it made me think of that like when you're a good person, like, well, am I a good person right now? Have I always been a good person? Like, I mean, I've done some bad things, but like currently I'm good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe
right.
That's a good answer.
It's a paradoxical.
Yeah.
Maybe everything isn't meaningless. Maybe everything is a paradox. Maybe you just don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe you saying that it's meaningless is you not being able to say, I don't know if it's meaningful or not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Because the other flip side of everything being meaningless is that everything matters ultimately. It's like yin and yang. And that's I guess that is the thing when I was talking about like having these like psychedelic experiences where like at the same time I'm feeling terrified, but I'm, then I can also switch my brain into like, wow, this is the most incredible feeling and I'm seeing the most amazing, beautiful thing. And then you start to realize like, I'm actually like all of these emotions are happening at the same time. It's just my perspective. And so at this point in time, I'm looking at this thing, this situation, and I'm thinking, wow, this is incredible. But like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Within the matter of like a split second, you go from like horrified to amazed, And so that just makes me think like, well, what is it?
Yeah.
If it's terrifying, because I'm looking at it this way, and then it's this. Well, what is it? And I guess you'd have to say, I don't know.
Wow, we're breaking ground here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done the LSD.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I turned it down in college. I wasn't into it. I like being calmed down by drugs. I don't like being.
It would calm you.
Maybe it'll calm me.
It could.
Yeah. I heard
it probably won't.
Did you ever do the microdose?
Yeah. And it's not a calming effect. It's very energizing, at least in my limited experience. I still think being sober is probably like the best thing. It is.
Yeah. I stopped drinking for a few weeks there up until a couple days ago.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Why did you get back on the sauce?
I don't know. I don't know. Why does anybody drink? Why?
I know why I drink.
You do?
Yeah.
Calms you down?
No, it tastes so good. And I'm so fascinated by the fact that you can like put stuff in water and then I don't even care about getting drunk. That's the least, I don't even like getting drunk. The buzz is even not into it, but like beer just is the most fascinating thing to me.
Huh.
Yeah, it's delicious.
You like ale?
Yes.
I like wheat beer. That's my thing.
Okay.
I don't know why. I guess that's...
Well, same reason ale is my thing. It just...
Yeah, my girlfriend drinks IPA.
Mm-hmm.
I like wheat beer. I like good Weisse. Trappist ale.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, maybe like a Belgian. You're like a Belgian beer guy,
Yeah.
like German.
I think it might be the German.
Yeah.
It might be the in my DNA.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just at the Highland Park Brewery the other night. They have a really good
Have I been there? I think I've been
Pilsner.
there, yeah.
And yeah, it's a cool place, good food.
That's what they have the barbecue out front. Or am I thinking of somewhere else?
They don't have a barbecue out front. It's in Highland Park. It's on York. It's, in that
Oh no, I'm thinking of a
hip
different
strip.
I'm thinking of a different spot.
They have a location downtown as well, Chinatown. Yeah, beer is the most, I don't know, just fascinating to me. There's actually, I think there's too many beers now. It's hard to make a decision. And everything's pretty good, so it's really hard to find anything that's like extraordinary. Although this Pilsner at the Highland Park Brewery is, I forget the name, but it's a hoppy Pilsner. It's fantastic. It's really good.
Try the Pilsner.
Yeah,
Gotta
it's
go there and
good.
try the Pilsner.
Yeah.
So when I think of, that's a lager. All the big beers are lager, right? Like Budweiser and
Pilsner. That's Pilsner.
That's Pilsner.
Yeah. So there's like two types of
which is a type
beer.
of lager, right?
Yes, I think so.
Pilsner is a type of lager. Yeah.
Yeah. And it all has to do with the type of yeast and the temperature at which you brew the beer. Ales, there's like either a top fermenting yeast or a bottom fermenting yeast, and that's like literally where it sits in the liquid. I think.
So that's really why you drink, is just because you like
beer. I
beer.
think
You just like it. You like everything about it.
Yeah. If there was a non-alcoholic beer that tasted as good, I'd probably would drink those.
What about, do you fuck with the growler? Get the growler, and
I don't do the growler.
Yeah, I had a friend who did that.
You gotta be really into it, like brewery lifestyle. I'm not. I'm like more of a, convenience store, grocery store, like grab a 6-pack with cool colors on it and take it home. And
my mom lives up in Sonoma County, where, some of the best beer. Arguably, it's not. That's not my opinion, right? But there's what is it? Pliny the Younger.
Yeah.
Is that Lagunitas? Is it Lagunitas?
No.
Or no, it's fucking
Russian River.
Russian River. Yeah. So that's right there in where she lives.
Yeah.
And I remember they do that like yearly release of Pliny the Elder, and I remember driving by it one day.
Sure.
And there was a line just around the block at Russian River.
Yeah.
And so I was beer lifestyle people with like flip flops and.
There's a brewery in Frogtown. That just reminded me of like flip flops. Like I feel like I'm walking into Chicago because it's just the most. Like if Pinterest published a list of like the checklist of what you need if you're gonna open a brewery, like a microbrewery, like you need to have these things, and like this Frogtown Brewery has checked every single box, and there's zero character to the place. Beer's fine. I mean, the beer's good. It's not bad. It's totally fine, but it's, like exposed beams and corrugated steel and, plywood and keg tables. And it's just like, okay, I can see why the residents of Frogtown would be pissed. This is just it's just a thing that white people like. And, perfect place to take your parents when they come visit the city. Yeah, they'll feel very like safe. And
there's a Venn diagram. It just occurred to me of like beer culture and maybe like kind of fratty culture.
Sure. Yeah.
There's an intersection there, I think.
Yeah. Or beards, like beards, bearded. I think that's a good thing to have if you're into beer, is a giant beard. Yeah, it's interesting. But I like.
So what's this you got here?
Oh, I mean, this isn't even something I'd necessarily want to like broadcast to the world that I like, because it's not, it's not a cool. It's not like an super indie beer brewery.
But they make the watermelon beer.
Ballast Point. This is Ballast Point. I don't think they make the water. That's like 21st Amendment. That's a Philadelphia.
I'm pretty sure that they have
a watermelon. Hell or High Watermelon.
Yeah, that's 21st. With the Golden Gate Bridge on it.
Yeah. I think it's like a Philly brewery, but that beer is
looks
good.
Similar. Yeah, it looks similar.
And this is the Mango Even Keel, which I not super into fruit.
Oh,
beers.
That's a fruity too?
Yeah, but I think this one is so crisp and delicious. I do love it. It's not obnoxiously fruity. A lot of
it's kind of got a Caribbean vibe.
Yeah, and like you know pirate, what? It does. It has this like
Central American.
I don't like the can. So Ballast Point has they have like all the Sculpin beers. You probably seen like Sculpin. They have and this is actually an interesting, I mean, you're a graphic designer, right? You do some graphic design. I've seen your work.
I can, yeah.
So they have a pretty consistent design to the cans, to the bottle labels, to everything. But this is the one beer of theirs that strays from that design. And I'm curious why this is the one can they've or style of beer that they've decided to like
maybe
abandon.
they're trying to merge into the Hell or High Watermelons market.
Might be.
Yeah.
Might be.
They're trying it out. They're like a
competitor.
Wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
And you know graphics.
What? Speaking, yes, like Miller Lite. I'll drink Miller Lite. If I'm gonna drink cheap, like Pilsner beer, I get Miller Lite, and I get it because I like the can.
Yeah,
because it's that cool. It's a cool can. It's a cool looking can.
Yeah, they make them. They kind of retro ones now.
Yeah. So that's like a whole segment of beers that's not. You're not drinking it based on quality of the product. You're drinking it based on like a nostalgic feeling. So you probably drink the same crappy beer that your father drank.
The halo effect. The halo effect of beer.
The halo.
When the brand is established so much that you're only reaching for it because it's the brand, because it's Miller.
There we go. Yeah.
That's because it's Miller time.
It's Miller time. And it's usually Miller time. Like, it's almost always Miller time for me. I'm
trying to think of what else people do that with. I don't know.
Probably
Nikes,
Apple products. I mean, people get Apple products because they're just like, why wouldn't I? Why would I get anything
so much
else?
Stuff, I bet.
Yeah, Nikes probably. Maybe anything with like a
Nike.
good brand, strong brand.
So you're still at the Pantages? Or it's the Fonda?
Occasionally, yeah. I was there yesterday. But it's been a while. I mean, it like comes and goes. It's not consistent as far as shows. And then it's kind of one of those things that if you start turning gigs down, then whoever's, in the flow, they get the gigs, and then maybe they have to take a break. And so you get called in, and then you're in it for a while until you turn down gigs, and then
is management your full-time thing?
Artist management?
Yeah.
No, I'm completely done.
You're done.
I'm done. I mean, I'm not complete. I'm officially done. I don't want to manage, and now that I look back on it, even though I've been done for a few weeks, like I'm just like, I cannot believe I did that. Like it just seems I don't know. It just seems like such a crazy endeavor. Just crazy. Like you just got to be a hustler. And hustling's cool, but it's a lot of work if you're not passionate about what you're hustling,
Yeah.
And I always managed independent artists. I managed 4 artists technically, I guess. The first one was many, many, many years ago, and I didn't know what I was doing. And the group was not like, they weren't pumping out a lot of content. So it's hard to go. I mean, if you're doing business, doesn't matter if it's music or anything, like you're going to do a business deal, right? And if we're going to do a business deal, then that means you have something I want and I have something you want, and we're going to leverage those things so that we both elevate our business. We grow, you know? So if you're not, it's hard to have conversations with people if you don't have new content out, or you're not working on some project, or there's not like a collaboration or something. So if you're closed off, it's just, there's not a lot of things to talk to people about, you know? And I'm not like a super social person, so just going out and being in the mix and talking about what's happening now, and I'm just not interested in doing that. It's not fun to me, you know, so I'm not good at it. But I was always like, with the management stuff, I was always good at the sort of like administrative side of it, you know, which would really be like all the stuff that maybe a label was doing. But being that I was managing independent artists, I was also essentially running the label as well. So I would tend to do those things because I could make a checklist, a to-do list, and then I could work my way through the to-do list. And that was rewarding to me. So that's what I tended to just focus on. And there's just a lot of little things because there's so many little pennies to collect in music. So I spent a lot of time like going back and sort of like registering or setting up things that had been neglected. And the longer they get neglected, it's the more stuff you have to go through and do. And I guess another big part of what you're doing is like elevating, you know, you want to elevate the artist's career. And so you elevate an artist's career by having connections or being savvy enough to, you know, get in the room with the right people. But then again, it goes back to like, what am I bringing to the table? What am I offering them? Because nobody, you know, it's like we were saying, you know, people in the music industry, just like any other industry, we want to make money the easiest way we know how, and the most enjoyable way we know how. When we find that lane that we fit into, we want to just keep doing that, you know, because like I want to have my work is my work. I make my money and then I go off and I live my life and I take like weekend trips with my girlfriend and whatever, you know. Yeah. So people aren't really like, I think it's naive to think that anyone in the music industry is doing it because they're so passionate about music. That's just not, I just don't believe that's the case, you know. People got into it because they were passionate, but then they get like jaded. Yeah.
You figure out a way to make it you know, normal.
Yeah. Normal, easy, you know, stable or consistent, I guess is probably the word. And, you know, it's like we were talking about, you have these, like a Tekashi 69 or whatever, like, you know, to me, it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. And it's just like when bands were getting signed off of, you know, MySpace numbers, and that's still happening. You know, like artists are getting record deals based off of Instagram follower accounts, and that's far more important to a record label than quality of music. But I get that. They're investing money into something, and they want a return on their investment. They're in the music business. It's not the music, you know, charity. It's the music business. You know, and it's not just music. It's any art industry. It's really any industry. You're putting money in and you want to get more money out. And, you know, with social media, it's easy to gather analytics. With Spotify and everything now, it's easy to gather analytics. And then you can comb through data and you can determine what has the most marketability and the most profitability. That has nothing to do with the quality of the song.
Right, but any you know, manager, if they had a budget, could pay for any of those metrics.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
And people do. You know, I read some article about a guy. It's exactly what he did. It's like a British manager who owned a label, and he said that they spent like $15,000 in credit on Facebook advertising, and then signed with I want to say 300 Entertainment or something.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a means to it. It's like what the goal, right? The goal is for a mutually beneficial like business arrangement, and to get more money out than you put in.
Yeah.
So whether that be by breaking an artist, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the key word you said is goal. You have to have a goal. You can change your goals at any point in time, but you have to know where you have to know a general direction that you're headed in, because if you don't do that, you're wandering lost, and that's not sustainable. You know, it's just not sustainable. And if your goal is to dye your hair and get face tattoos and be insane, then go do that, you know, and you're going to get paid. You're going to get paid a ton of money. People want to see that. They want to, you know, scroll through their newsfeed and see the zany thing you've done. They don't care about your song. Like, they don't care. It's just a marketing tool, you know. I remember like going into a meeting with the, you know, a president of a major, you know, one of the major labels, and him saying to us like, you know, I love your music. You remind me of my favorite artist. I love your music, but I don't know what to do with you. You know, you give me like a 21 Savage, I know what to do with that. I know how to plug that in. But you, I just don't know what to do. And that's really sad when you have, and then he went on to tell a story about how they were at some like, you know, Grammy party, and all these heads of the labels were sitting there like moaning to each other about how they can't sign anything they like anymore. And I'm just like, I have zero sympathy for you, because you're all, again, it goes back to that streetlight thing where like you're all just choosing to do nothing about it because you ultimately want to put in the least amount of effort and get the largest return possible.
Yeah.
So you all have the power to say, look, let's just stop signing trash and let's sign stuff that we think is honestly good. People are going to listen to whatever you give them. The masses, whatever you put on the radio, people are going to like. That's just, that's how it is. I mean, you know, you have people that are early adopters that are a bit more, you know, critical. But to reach the masses and become a superstar, you just need to make the same thing over and over again. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Drake. I think he's got some cool songs, but I think he's the king of just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But why not? You know, the dude is like super successful and making a ton of money.
Yeah.
And you know, is he happy? He's probably happy. I mean, is he fulfilled artistically? I have no idea.
It might not be that important to him.
May not be that important. And who am I to even judge or care? You know, like he's found his thing and he's going to do it until it doesn't work anymore. And then we'll see if he reinvents himself, or we'll see if he goes on and does something else. Doesn't matter. But like, you know, I don't know.
A lot of times when I think of like management or breaking artists or like pushing a music career forward, which is something that I think about because I work in music.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll think in terms of what artists have done things that I want to do that I've seen happen, like not read about or that happened before, that I've actually seen. Like we both, I don't know if you were paying attention, but saw Drake, you know, get famous.
Yeah.
Right. And get to the point where he's at now. I mean, that happened like while I was watching it happen.
Yeah.
Step by step. And it's not, I mean, you can see like from doing that first mixtape and then getting like a big artist like Lil Wayne to do a verse on one of the songs, having a really talented engineer and producer already, and then basically getting, you know, what's now like the Drake career stimulus package, but he got that from Lil Wayne, like he got a cosign, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a formula right there.
Totally.
Like get a cosign from a big artist, put them on your mixtape, make sure there's, you know, it's good enough.
Yeah.
And But you
And there
see
you
that.
go.
I've seen that, well, I don't know, maybe 4 times where
I think The Weeknd is kind of like that too.
The Weeknd, yeah, we saw that happen.
Yeah.
I remember watching Mike Posner from when he was putting videos on Vimeo
Yeah.
from college to, he's on the cover of Billboard or whatever it is. That to me, it's like, well, there's his formula. I'm not a huge fan of any of these people,
Yeah.
but that's besides the point.
They did it.
But it's like, okay, so he's making, things were less social media heavy then, but, he's like making videos himself, producing in his dorm room. And then he's like kind of touring relentlessly. And a lot of times these people have experienced management before the fact anyways.
Yeah.
Or money, or connections.
Yeah.
Because even in the first Drake mixtape, he's rapping about how his Rolls Royce is rented and he doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
From acting on the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Is it really all social media now? Because I remember when like Odd Future blew up.
Yeah.
They put out a really good video, and then they did a Jimmy Fallon appearance like the same week.
Yeah.
And like that was totally the breaking point. You could see it. Like you could just watch it happen in front of your eyes. Like, wow, this group just broke. And that wasn't based on social media, but that had to have been 6 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It isn't all social media. You can't,
or Krayshawn too.
Yeah.
She didn't play a single live show before she signed a $2 million contract. It was all based on that video.
Yeah.
7 years ago.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. That makes me think, like, I'd be curious to see, like, if you get a $2 million contract, maybe that's all the money you'll ever make in your lifetime from music. It's totally possible and not even that far-fetched to be a professional musician. It's completely like, Jameson is it really to me is like is far more than Chance the Rapper, like the example of a self-made professional musician. He worked at it for years, and he owns a house, a modest home with a studio, and that's amazing. It's just not, and again, that maybe, and I'm not saying this that I wasn't a good manager. I was good at some things, but I'm if I would still be managing if I was a good manager. But if you do all the administrative stuff to get all those pennies, and the artist is creating content consistently. That's what it probably comes down to the most is content, and having, social media is just a means to distribute that content. It's maybe you need to have a, maybe, and the other thing too is there is no formula. There's a formula that works for one person. It doesn't mean it's gonna work for everybody. So you need to make either a little bit of really great content, or you need to make a lot of just entertaining content that doesn't get stale and annoying. You've got to find that content cadence that works for you. But then it goes back to the goal. I don't know. I guess I like to think that there was probably, I don't believe that, an Odd Future blew up from, a video and a TV performance, because they didn't get on TV without probably a publicist or a management that.
Missing part of that is their manager was Paul Barman's assistant, who was Eminem's manager, the entire Slim Shady LP.
Sure.
For however long, probably still is now. So somehow they got, they had Christian Clancy.
Yep.
Right. So he knew the ropes long before the game started. Nobody's saying, we like your mixtape, we want to put you on Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
That's not
Or they're probably saying,
anybody.
hey, we like your mixtape, we want to put you on Jimmy Fallon, but hey, I want you to sign this deal with me to make more music, and I'm going to take a cut of that. I mean, no one's hooking anybody up for free unless...
Right. Well, I'm saying that conversation was like, hey, this is Christian Clancy. I've been doing this longer than you have. I want my artist on Jimmy Fallon.
Totally. I mean, even it may not even be like, hey, this is Christian Clancy. It's like, he just knows the person to call. You know, who do you call to get on Jimmy Fallon?
Right.
Yeah, I don't have their phone number to call them and even ask.
The MD, whoever that is.
Yeah, and that's like a thing when I first started managing, because my background is tour management, and so a big reason why I wasn't super effective on the networking side of things is I spent all my time touring. I never interned at a label or worked at a label or worked at a management company, or, I just don't have a network of people in the industry. It's all the touring side. But yeah. I mean, that's like, I guess when I merged into management, I assumed there was some sort of like secret knowledge that I lacked. There was something that everybody else knew. And then I, over time realized like there is no knowledge. It's just, it's networking. It really, it comes down to networking, and the music industry reminds me a lot of being in high school, and, you have the cool kids table, and the cool kids table is full of the coolest kids. And, it kind of goes back to the whole like capitalism discussion where like the cool kids are trying their best to keep anyone away from the cool table because they don't necessarily know why they're at the cool table. They're just really happy to be there and they don't want to leave it. So, it takes anyone can manage. It's just going to be like, hours and hours and years of countless cold emails to people that are not going to get returned. And then over time, as you're in it, you're going to get to the point where you start receiving emails and you can't return them because you're getting too many emails, which was an interesting...
Cold emails to, this is kind of a tangent, but to like booking managers.
Yeah, press or, trying to get on a show or, just trying to get anything, trying to get anyone to listen to the music to give you an opportunity, but then again, all those people that you're emailing are already connected. And so they're receiving a whole array of emails, and some of them are offering money. Most aren't. So you're not gonna, your email is, if you're not offering some sort of monetary benefit to them, you're so far down the priority list. Mm-hmm. And that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So then if you don't want to put in the time to build the network yourself, then you've got to figure out a way to get that network or get access to that network. And if you want the shortcut, you're going to have to sacrifice, you're going to have to give up some things. You're going to have to give up a part of something to make it worthwhile to somebody.
Yeah. The two, like videos that I've put out that were, one of them, the first one I sent to like maybe 3 places. I emailed it to maybe 3 places. And one of them, like a popular blog, put it up. And it was like 30,000 views or something just from that blog.
Yeah.
The second one, I tried a different approach, and you can get, I forget what they call it, but there's a name for it. And it's that registry of every single A&R's email.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You can pay for it now. It used to be in the back of...
Was like Music Connect or something like that, yeah.
But yeah, so I paid, it was like $80, and it was like maybe 150, 200 emails that I selected out, and I sent it out to everybody. I mean, the views still got high based on the previous video.
Yeah.
But I got maybe like, I think 2 replies.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted to put it on.
Yeah. Well, why would they?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's good? No, that doesn't matter. And you think if you're if you're a music blog or an online magazine, like you need people to click, you need people to visit, you need people to like, you're baiting them on social media to try to pull them in, and you need to keep them on your website because you're making money off of advertising. So I don't know if you receive 2 songs and one is from, one is crap, but it's from some super hot, face tattooed rapper, and the other's from like, some like, like white guy that's a great song, you're probably going to go with the zany face tattoo song because people are going to click on your thing and visit your site. And that's, I don't know, it just is what it is. It's nothing to get frustrated about because it's, I don't know. I sort of came up with this, I don't know what you call this, like just a philosophy or something, but like, if you want to do music, and if you want to do business, and if you want to do music business. So it kind of goes back to the whole thing of like having a goal. Like if you want to just make art, then don't be frustrated that things aren't popping on the music business front because you're not doing music business. You're doing totally. Music. You can't be frustrated that you're not achieving a goal if that's not a goal.
That's really naive.
Yeah.
That's really,
if you want to do art, then be content with the fact that you're going to be underappreciated or not appreciated at all, and you may not receive $1 for it, but you should be personally satisfied with the art that you're creating, hopefully,
Yeah, that's one thing that I learned from working in the big, large format studio where I started out in San Francisco is like, there's huge swaths of the business end of this that you have no idea exist. Mm-hmm. To think that if you just think that you're if your goal is to make art and that you're wondering why that's not the entire recipe.
Yeah, well, don't expect to be getting paid because, nobody needs art. You need food and clothing and shelter and water and whatever, but you don't need art. People are willing to pay for it. Even in hard economic times, people still will pay to be entertained. But like, you shouldn't just don't expect a single dollar from it because I don't know.
No, yeah,
that's not the point of art, right? I guess it's not you don't make art to get paid for it. You make art because you're trying to express yourself or you're trying to express some idea, and hopefully that creates some sort of dialogue, from the people who experience it. That as far as I understand it and believe it, that's the point of art. It nowhere in that definition does it say, this is a thing you make in order to get paid.
So what about the 3 other artists you managed before Jameson? Anything there? What was it? I remember you said it. There was a country artist in there.
Yeah. I managed a country artist from back home, and I still believe that like Jameson probably has like the best work ethic out of anybody who's doing music, and I think everybody else that I managed has had like some of those characteristics, and so this country artist, for example, the guy, he played like 250 shows a year and had been doing that for a long time. And he had, prior to my working with him, he had some modest success, but he did not have management that was looking at what's next. You going back to the whole Odd Future thing. That's a very calculated strategy. We're gonna put out this video, and then we're gonna go do Jimmy Fallon, and then we're gonna do this, and you're using all these things to build up to the big the tipping point.
He's really good. And then they made all their money selling socks.
Yeah, that's the whole name of the game, is to sell people consumer goods. And now that's what I'm focusing on 100%.
Yeah.
So
were you like, I don't know, work just the guy at every show, or you were working in radio station, or how did you? Do you play music?
Well, I played music, but that was never like I was always interested in music. I just, I don't know, like the first concert I went to, I just wanted to be a roadie. Like I just thought the roadies were the coolest dudes. I didn't really ever want to be on stage. I played in a band. I mean, we were, it was silly high school stuff. It was fun. I loved it. But like the whole idea of putting on a show and not really being recognized for it or something, and, getting to like have the benefits of being on tour, but not having to be the guy, in the spotlight.
Remembering lyrics.
Yeah, I thought that was the coolest thing. And then I came out to LA and sort of fell into it, like accidentally fell into it. And then, once you kind of get out on the first tour, I think they all sort of, as long as you're hardworking and you're pleasant to be around, like people want you to come out on the road because, the road is a terrible place to be with awful people, And so I did the tour management, and just maybe like naturally like an organized person that, anytime we'd take a trip or something, like I'm always the guy who I need to know what's going on, like what's the plan, where are we staying, and
right.
So that all that stuff just came naturally, but yeah. And then people would say, "Oh, I think you're probably going to manage someday," and I was like, "Well, yeah, maybe, I guess." This first band I tried, and I didn't know what I was doing, and they weren't again, like I wasn't creating enough content, so it was just hard to like have conversations or show people, because you're just showing people. Maybe it's like local blogs, like, hey, check out this new video we did, check out this new song. But then once that content dries up, there's no, why am I hitting them up? What do I have to talk to them about?
You look at the date on that YouTube video.
Exactly. And then the country guy I managed, he had his thing, but he didn't have management in place to like set up the next thing to like build off of that. So he just kept touring and then not putting out any content, so that, that's really frustrating for a manager when there's no content or there's just no, a manager is really, I guess, maybe like, you can't make something out of nothing. I don't know. And then I've been helping this other newer artist. She goes by Miss World.
You sent that to me.
She's put out a new video today, and she's really cool too, because she, like Jameson, she, directs and edits her videos and writes her songs and records them, and like very productive artist, pumping out a lot of content. And when you're trying to make a name for yourself, you've got to utilize social media to distribute you should be using social media to the fullest extent because it's there and it's mostly free to use. Yeah. And if you aren't doing it, then no one is finding out about your stuff. I mean, it's, yeah. I mean, you're anytime you post something, you're gonna reach a fraction of your social media audience. So if you're not consistently working to grow that audience, you're not reaching any more people than you reached last time, and you'll lose fans more than you'll gain fans if you're not actively pursuing new fans. Like.
Right.
And you also have to think you're not releasing music in a vacuum, like everyone else is dropping songs too. So like any average consumer is just, I don't know.
The music industry though is so low on social media that it also, it really seems kind of, I don't want to say unprofessional, but it's like kind of.
But it is.
It
is.
To be just.
It is.
Because then you're going into different territories than being a musician, because there's people that are just famous for their Instagram accounts. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can try that, but it's not your job.
Yeah.
But
I think. Yeah. Go ahead.
One thing I always wondered about Jameson was like, you guys play these big shows, like international, all the time. Like it seems like that. Why is it not focused more on like getting famous in the U.S. or playing even bigger shows in the U.S. or maybe doing like a TV appearance rather than having fans globally? Is that it's just that that's just a product of you having so much tour management experience? That's the strength?
No, I mean, I think we just did what made us money to continue to just live another day, you know? And so if somebody offers you money to come to it, there was not a conscious effort to focus on international markets. That was not at all it was, you're trying to you're throwing you're throwing darts at the wall and seeing what sticks. And, you know, you go wherever somebody is dangling money in front of you. So it wasn't, I mean, we would have loved to, or, you know, I guess I can't speak on his behalf, but I mean, I would have loved to be so famous in the US and never leave, you know, that's fine. But it's so competitive in the States. And it's also not, I think once you go international, you're judged more on the quality of your art and less on the hype or, you know, the BS around you.
And the touring is kind of a meal ticket. It's a sure.
Yeah, I mean, but even international touring is not.
You bought a house off tours?
No. It's not buying a house off tours. It's not that. It's all of those little pennies. It's just as much streaming revenue as it is, you know, merchandise sales or show guarantees. I mean, the first, you know, I don't know if we ever really were like super profitable, if at all, from touring Europe. I mean, you're not guaranteed. Really, the only places that you can tour and be guaranteed money is like Australia and Asia, because it's such an effort to get bands to come out there that they, you know, you're guaranteed X amount and your expenses are covered. But Europe is not hurting for touring musicians. So they're not providing you with these like amazing deals to come tour. I mean, we lost our butts on touring Europe several times before we ever broke even doing it. I mean, that was a sacrifice to make that a viable, profitable touring market. You have to, I don't know. You know, it's really, that just makes me think of like how frustrating it was to find openers to come out on tour, because people are like, oh, I just don't think we're going to make any money. Yeah, of course you're not going to make any money. We didn't make money the first however many tours we did, but how are you? People are very privileged now, like, because it's so easy to make music, it's so easy to distribute your music, that people don't want to go, you know, into the hole hitting the road to, you know, build a fan base. That, I mean, those are the people that buy your socks. The people that buy your socks are the ones that like saw you perform in a basement or whatever at some place. You know, they're your fans for life. But most artists won't realize that because they've never gone and done that, you know, and that's
a good point.
I don't know, especially if you want to do it independent, there's just no shortcut.
Why not open up for an even bigger
Well, it's
act?
just easier said than done. Everyone's trying to open up for everyone bigger.
Really?
I mean, we submitted to tours, you know, but again, that's, you know, you got to build a case. Why should we bring you out, not this person? We want to sell out venues. We're going to get a bonus when we sell out venues. So I'm going to take the person who I think is going to sell more tickets. I may like your music more, but I want to hit that bonus because that's how I'm going to be profitable on this tour.
I saw a Fantagram at the cemetery maybe 2 or 3 years ago. They had a tobacco open up for him. I thought that was such a cool opener. I can't imagine that it's every case where, is it really that competitive? I mean, because if you know another artist, you know their little crew, isn't it just kind of like, hey, can we do it?
Yeah, but a show like a cemetery, there's not, I mean, I don't know how those deals are structured, but I'm guessing there's not like necessarily I don't know if there's like a sellout bonus, you know? So, you know, those are events where it's like,
I don't know that much about their career, about Fantagram's career.
Yeah.
I just know that somewhere along the line, they did get big.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know much about that band either. I mean, I feel like that's a band that's kind of like flown fairly under the radar, but I assume they're like fairly successful. Like, and I guess that means I'm saying that like financially.
Yeah, no, they had a breaking point at some point where they're
not like in your face. I'm sure that, you know, it's a group that can tour the world, and they're probably profitable everywhere they tour at this point, and that's an amazing place to be. But I bet they were not always that way, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's also important to keep in mind like the amount of bands that don't make it. Like there's so many. Like failure in the music industry is the norm. Success is extremely, extremely rare.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe I guess you want to focus on like, or maybe it's just as important to learn like or study why some artists fail. You know, just as important as it is to try to figure out why some succeeded, because like, I don't know, success is, I mean, it has so much to do with timing and luck, and those are not things that you can quantify. You know, those are just like, I don't know, they're magic. You know, they're magic things that you can't like make happen. I mean, I don't know. I've seen groups that have had like the most amazing, like just amazing management, and they've gone out on tour with like the coolest bands, and it's like, how is this not working for you? Like you have just been provided every single badass opportunity that you could have needed, and it's just not working.
Yeah.
You know, the music not resonating, I guess. I don't know, or I don't know what it is, or people aren't connecting with the talent on stage. I don't know, but I don't know. And it's interesting working at the Fonda too. Just seeing like the bands that come through. It's like a mid-sized venue, so it seems like bands either on their way up or bands on their way down. Yeah, and it was interesting. So interesting to be around it and see like the struggles and just sort of hear the conversations, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I kind of miss by not being either in a touring band. I mean, that tour with Jameson didn't pan out, or working at a recording studio anymore is kind of being of it. Yeah. You know, just being involved day to day. Yeah. Because now it's just me. But it feels that way. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like just a jaded old man a lot, just complaining about things. I think the whole I guess I call it like the American electronic music industry has done, you know, has made a considerable impact on the music industry as a whole. Maybe more than people are like really giving it credit for. I mean, just being like a manager of bands is you're just not getting paid as much as if, I mean, Jameson probably could have got paid so much more if he would have just DJ'd or something, you know? It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I mean, there's a lot of people that it's working for them, and that's, you know, again, I'm just like a grumpy dude, but I mean, that's, I mean, just in the festivals, you know, festivals have become such a massive thing, and people want to save up and buy the festival ticket and not necessarily go buy tickets to see an artist on tour. Like, there's just I don't know. I'm wondering about, you said streaming royalties. Yeah. Streaming royalties are notoriously low compared to the profit margin from selling albums, but that's totally fine. There's plenty. People. I mean, I've seen the numbers. That was a significant part of income. Wow. And it is for everybody. And it's comparative. That's the whole conversation. And the major labels, no one should feel sorry for major record labels. They ruined
their industry. They completely ruined it. They're 100% to blame.
Yeah.
You know,
You're not talking sound exchange, or you're talking like from the distributor.
I'm talking from the distributor. Yeah, the money received from distribution is not. It's nothing. Any artist who's putting out a fair amount of music, streaming royalties, the money you're getting from your distributor is going to be it should be a significant part of your income, and if it's not, if you're not making significant money from streaming, then I don't see how you could be making significant money from anything. It sort of all goes hand in hand. I mean, if you're not making significant money from streaming, then you shouldn't be touring. I mean, I don't know who would be coming to your shows if people aren't streaming your music. And, then you go do shows and you sell your socks and your t-shirts and your physical CDs and vinyl, and you're making money from that. I mean, you have to be doing all of it. Right. In this day and age, you have to be doing you can't just focus on one thing unless you're some, legacy act. Right. You have to be doing everything. If any piece of the puzzle is missing, then you're not probably able to be a professional musician.
Yeah, you should check out that book, Song Machine. I'm surprised you haven't
Song
read.
Machine,
I don't know if you like reading.
I don't know it.
But yeah, it's really good. There's a lot of good music books.
Yeah.
But, that one in particular is really kind of a behind the curtain account of a lot of artists breaking. Rihanna is really detailed.
Yeah.
So why, you don't have to, I don't want to get political, but so why did you stop managing? You said you're done all the way now, except for Miss World a little bit?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I had some personal, I guess it's a long time coming, and a lot of, it wasn't a one thing happened and I just decided to be done. It built up over time. And then I had a lot of family members passed away recently, and some were expected, and some was fairly completely unexpected and pretty tragic. And it just sort of made me be life is short. We're all kind of assuming that we're going to live to be 85 or whatever, but you could go at any time, and so I just kind of got to this point where I was like, look, I don't really want to waste another day not being happy. And there was a lot of frustration from management, just from things not working out, and not that, things should work out all the time. It's not that. It's just, it would, I don't know. I really honestly felt like I probably had reached the end of my abilities. I was not singularly able to elevate any artist's career beyond a certain point. And the amount of work that I was putting in versus the, what I was getting out, not even financially, just I don't know, spiritually or whatever. It wasn't adding up, and I didn't want to, I just wanted, I don't know. I also had this weird, sometimes you get this sage wisdom from random strangers, and I was in a Lyft, and this Lyft driver was this overweight old guy, and he was talking to the passenger in the front, and he was like, I spent my entire life solving other people's problems, and I never took the time to worry about my own problems. And look at me now, I'm a Lyft driver, ha ha ha. And I was like, oh my God, I'm devoting all of my time to helping these artists, which is cool, and I love music and I love helping people. But I'm neglecting myself. I'm not actually putting any time into.
Well, that's the thing about being a manager too. Is it's totally. It's really kind of a selfless relationship in a lot of ways. I feel like, because it's it is. You're. Yeah.
Then the other thing too, and I always
it takes
said,
a certain type of person for sure.
Yeah, it does, and I just the whole organization stuff came naturally to me, and so I was like probably naturally like fit to do the job, but being organized isn't all that it takes. You have to be a cheerleader, and you have to be passionate about the product that you're selling. And, I reached a point where it wasn't fulfilling to me personally. I mean, I still love everything that, Jameson in particular does. But I just wanted to like I don't know. I just felt like life is short. Like now's the time for me to do some things that I want to do. And I through this trip, through this tour that we were offered in 2015 to tour China, I just became fascinated with China and, started this like side business, managing Chinese social media for Western artists, and then learned a lot more from that. And that sort of like led to another opportunity, which I'm like super pumped to be focusing on full time. It's like inspiring and invigorating.
What's the lowdown on that?
Yeah. So it's a company called Lionshare.
Uh-huh.
And they I guess in a nutshell, and this is like constantly sort of evolving because China is rapidly evolving with their music industry, because they don't have this rich history of a music industry like we do in the West.
Mm-hmm.
But we take Western talent and I guess the whole thing, you have to understand, like China has a firewall. So when you're within mainland China, you're blocked from accessing most Western websites, Facebook, YouTube, Google, all that stuff. So we basically take Western talent, we set them up on Chinese social media. We have some very deep partnerships with the big gatekeepers in China. So we license video content. We utilize that content and the social media presence to drive traffic to e-commerce opportunities. So really trying to open up the Chinese market to the West. And
this one's been sitting on my phone. Obviously, I can't use it.
Yeah, Weishi. Yeah. Did I tell you to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a 10-cent. That's an app. 10 Cent is there's three major tech companies in China. There's Tencent, Alibaba, and Baidu.
Uh-huh.
Baidu is like China's Google. Tencent, Alibaba is like Amazon, and then Tencent is like Apple. So Tencent owns a number of social media properties, instant messengers, video sharing. Weishi's like a Snapchat 10 to 20 second micro videos. They have, basically like a video sharing app for every length of video.
So did you get hired at this company, or you bought equity in it, or?
No, I actually, through my social media company, I got in touch. We reached out to this company to help us connect some dots, and I just developed a relationship. Not intentionally. We developed a relationship, and then they asked me to join forces because.
Wait, what's your social media company?
My company's called World One Social, and I honestly don't even. I know there's like other companies popping up that are offering social media management services for China, but that is just scratching the surface or scraping the surface. There's so much more that you need to do. Like if you want to engage the Chinese market, you need to consciously make that decision, and you have to put effort into it. You can't just effortlessly tap in and extract money from China. That's their whole thing, is they are their own entity. China's never going to westernize like the rest of the world has. China will always remain China.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to talk to those people. You have to, make a video and say a few words in Chinese and like show them that you care, and so just
and it's for artists or it's for anyone.
That's for anybody, any brand, any influencer, any artist, anybody. You can't just waltz into China and pull money out. It's not going to happen.
Right.
You're just, it's not even going to be worth it. I mean, there's like 1.4 billion people that we're talking about. There's 415 million millennials in China. It's greater than the population of the United States. It's massive. There's 70 cities in China, at least from my research, there's 70 cities in China that have a larger population than Houston, Texas, which is America's 4th largest city. So like, why aren't bands touring over there? That you could just tour China forever, theoretically, based on population, and there has to be, it's just that 70 cities larger than Houston. I mean, but then I don't know how many cities that they have that are larger than 100,000 people. It's got to be thousands, it's crazy. But yeah, you just, I don't know. You have to make that effort, and it's different. It's a different place. I think it's magical. I think it's incredible, and it's wide open. And the people that decide to make that effort to go there early are going to be rewarded. But the other thing I love about China is I feel like it's so Wild West. And the thing I didn't like about the music industry is I felt like I was entering into this club or this, I was playing this game and the rules were already set and I had to play by the rules and I had no say in the rules. And I don't really like that. That doesn't feel fair to me. And so China feels like a place where I can't make the rules there, but at least I can, I feel like I'm helping to build industries there, so we are getting to create systems and we're creating these relationships. And to me, that's so fun, and there's a number of other companies that are in there doing great things. There's a company called Outdustry that's like, maybe is the most responsible or singularly responsible for any, music streaming royalties being paid at all. So it is, then I'd say we're kind of the ones in there on the video side of things. But yeah, I don't know. That's exciting to me. I feel like it's a new frontier. And, once China sort of gets going, there's plenty of other emerging markets. I mean, India, Nigeria, Pakistan, Indonesia. Indonesia's a crazy place. It's the 4th largest population in the world stuck on an island. There's a ton of money there. Nobody's really doing much there. Why not? So I don't know. I've always been intrigued by the entire world. I think it's crazy that we're all stuck on this rock and like acting like, I don't know, we're trying to retain ownership to our little like plots of land and fighting over limited resources is like crazy to me, that we're not just all trying to figure out how to coexist, but whatever. I don't know. I'm a hippie.
So how much work is it? Like, do you own, are you just, what kind of work do you do day to day to run a international social media marketing company?
It's a lot of like, it's not even at the point yet where there are set structures in place, because we're working with these companies that have never done things before. So it's not like, you can go get a job in the music industry in the West and somebody trains you and then you just start doing these tasks, and they're repeatable tasks. I mean, there's still so much researching, there's so much, communication and you might get started on a project and then, the company realizes, oh, well, we didn't know that was possible. Well, we want to do that. Oh, okay. Well, now let's shift gears and go do this. I mean, there's still a lot of that. So and meanwhile you're trying to bring in clients because you need to earn money, but then you can't bring clients in too quickly because things are still changing, and you don't want to, there's a lot of intimidation around doing business with China. The language barrier is crazy, insane, more different than it is in most other countries. It's a lot of different challenges, and it's really, I think the thing that I'm personally trying to do is just better understand the cultural difference so that I can help manage the expectations of the Chinese client and the Western client. I know the standards and the expectations more so of the Western clients, but it's also, the Chinese market's volatile, but I can't just use that as an excuse all the time for Westerns. I'm sorry that things didn't work out. That's just China. Well, then people in the West are just going to give up on doing business with China.
Uh-huh.
It's also getting the Chinese side to realize, like, hey, if you want to expand outside of China, you've got to Westernize a little bit, or at least like adopt some, play by some Western rules. So it's just, I don't know, it's like being in maybe like a ambassador or something, which... A diplomat, yeah, totally. Diplomat. Yeah, it's fun. It's so much fun, but
yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
interesting. They've never been to China.
Yeah.
Been all over Europe.
I would I don't know. I feel like if you were ever curious to like travel to another planet, you should just go to China. Because it's just so different. But then also people say like, well, what's China like? And say, well, it's just like the United States, but completely different in every way. I mean, the people in China love China just as much as Americans love America. And they've lived their entire life without having to think beyond their borders, just like we do here. Massive country, massive superpower.
Yeah. Massive history.
Way more history than we have, and extremely proud of that, and very proud of their food culture. And there's like 52 or 56 dialects of Chinese language. So even within China, if you go to Shanghai, people are speaking Shanghainese, and so if you speak Mandarin, you can't understand Shanghainese, and you can't understand Cantonese, and it's. And there's not English. You're not going to go and see English in a restaurant. So ordering food is difficult, or just getting around is hard, and people don't know English, and you can go anywhere else in the world and you can get by because people are probably going to speak English. But, Chinese people, they may speak English, but they're not going to like bend over backwards to help you out, just like we wouldn't, if a Chinese person tried to order food from you, you'd be like, I don't know. the saying words really slowly, it works everywhere else, isn't working here. It's just making people more confused.
If you spoke to me in Chinese very slowly, it would.
Yeah, you would still just be like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And no visual reference.
That's like your main focus now?
That's my main focus, and I started taking Mandarin lessons, and I really love it, and
Cool.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But it is exciting. It's like it's a cool thing because like every day something cool happens.
You should do you could start a Chinese podcast network.
I could.
That's what I need is a network.
Yeah.
To be on. That feeds me big advertisers for this show.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a quick China buck solution for you. I don't know if there is one, but I mean, the whole Weishi thing was a cool, it was a cool program, a cool app. And again, it just sort of like, we were kind of tasked with like, just get...
Are American artists making money on it?
On Weishi, no. Weishi became like to people in China are making tons of money. I mean, yeah, people in China are making tons of money, but they sort of wanted to, like, you know, just the expectations of the type and quality of content made it too demanding on anyone, like trying to casually enter the market via Weishi. But there's other, I don't know, there will be other opportunities, and there's, you know, always new opportunities there.
Huh.
But it's, you know, they're in a rush for video content, just like anyone's in a rush for original video content here. You know, Netflix or Hulu or whoever, you know, everyone is trying to get as much original video content as they possibly can, and so is China.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder about some of the choices that show up on Netflix. There's so much terrible stuff on there.
Yeah, but that's, you know, I guess that going back to the music thing, like distribution. Distribution is the most important step in any product. I mean, if you make beer or you make clothing, you've got to distribute it. And you've got to get with a distributor that gets it to the masses. And then you've got to market it so that the masses buy it. Because if they don't buy it, then the distributor's not going to distribute your stuff. And I think about music, and like, if you really wanted to look at music and think like, what is the consistent line throughout the entire history of humans making music? Well, the only thing that consistently, you know, the thing that happened from day one till now is public performance of music.
Mm-hmm.
Before there was recorded music, you were only a professional musician if people paid you to perform.
Right.
So touring was the original professional musician, you know, way to make money. And then it became possible to record that music and then sell that recording, but it wasn't easy to make a recording. So then you really had to be a good, you know, making good music to let somebody, or to have somebody allow you to use their recording equipment. And then distributing heavy physical goods, you know, you weren't just there was limited shelf space. You're not going to just like carry around super heavy vinyl. You know, it has to be good stuff. You know, then we shifted to tapes and CDs. I sort of wonder if maybe CDs was the advent of music quality declining, because I remember when I first got a 5-disc CD changer that let me program tracks so I could skip.
Right.
So then, you know, then it kind of, maybe the music industry became about like making singles, you know, as opposed to like making great full-length albums.
Yeah.
And
there's definitely a golden age of
but it definitely became cheaper and easier. It became cheaper to record music and distribute it on a physical format. And then when digital came along and you remove the physical portion of that, then it became super easy to distribute. And then you had home recording on laptops. So then you've basically eliminated all barriers to entry that were preventing bullshit from being distributed.
Right.
And now anyone can make music and distribute it. So there's no barriers to entry. Another thing that, like, maybe I feel like this is the one thing I remember from college.
Mm-hmm. But what you're saying is like, so in some ways, if you're going to reduce it down to something that it's just live performances, is that. I don't believe you. But it's also where's the money? In any of those cases, like all the decisions in technology and the way that people consume music or anything else is a lot of times based on what's paying.
Yeah.
But
you can get paid good money from public performance. I mean, maybe that is, you're like, you know, if you're like a mid-range up and coming artist, I mean, you can get paid $30,000 to $50,000 to perform at a festival for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, that's a great payday. That's like probably your biggest profit margin of anything that you would do. So that really hasn't changed, but due to the elimination of any barriers to entry, you can't rely on just selling physical albums, because there's such a saturation in the market of content that we've trained the music industry, the record labels, the major record labels trained their consumers to not value music. They ruined it by putting, one or two quality songs on an album, and raising the price of CDs up to like $20.
Yeah.
They ruined it by being greedy. And probably, everyone involved. It's not like it's just the record label people. It's managers, it's the musicians themselves that weren't questioning it, and they were just loving, it's the excess, like they maybe like the 80s and 90s excess of the glamour, and just like blowing money. Well, the more you spend, the more you got to make to make it all back.
When you talk about
it's irresponsible.
CDs and like 90s excess, the image of Backstreet Boys' Millennium keeps popping up in my head.
Yeah.
The cover of that CD.
Yeah, some really fantastic songs on that album. Though.
Yeah, it's a good. It's good, but it's it really encapsulates all of that, because it was probably one of the highest selling CDs. And then the stuff with their manager, who was then put into prison for the Ponzi scheme. I forget the guy's name.
Yeah, I do too. Probably best. Shouldn't give him any credit.
But yeah, he was. It's exactly what it is. The 90s excess and selling little plastic circles.
Yeah. I don't even. What do you? When someone hands you a CD, what do you? I'm just like, why are you giving me your trash? I don't. What am I supposed to do with this? Can you recycle these? I don't even know if I can recycle it. And then I feel guilty about putting it in the trash can. Don't give me that CD. But still a lot of people buy CDs at shows. I'm amazed. People want to, if you're genuine and you put on a good show, the things that people would say to me when I would sell merchandise at Jameson shows, like lives were changed. And I toured with plenty of other bands, and nobody ever gave the compliments that people at Jameson shows gave. People want to give you their money. They're dying to spend their money. They want to give you as much of their money as they can possibly give you, but you have to give them something of value in return. And I think the best thing is if you put on a life-changing live performance, people will empty their pockets for you.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing, because it's cool to buy vinyl because it sounds good and it's tangible and the art's big and it feels good in your hand. And it's better than a CD, and this, CD's maybe better than, CD sounds better than a MP3. But the thing that's better than vinyl is the live experience. That's a religious experience where there's a room full of people that are just like losing their minds together. That's an incredible thing. That's such an incredible thing. And, it's why people love festivals, is they can take their Molly and like just go feel so amazing and incredible.
So do you have do you have a history of going to shows? Is there did you have some life-changing show that you went to when you were 10 or something that makes you think that? Because for me, my introduction to music was always the CD, and it's like this CD, every song's good. I don't know, like Dr. Dre's The Chronic or The Downward Spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are CDs that are just like, wow, this is so important to me. But then whenever I would go to a show when I was around those, like an impressionable age, it was always an arena tour.
Yeah.
So it was never a really, Billy Corgan was that big when I was, 13 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I never really got that until I was much older, where you're in, obviously not a smaller club than an arena, and that this is this
more
is really
intimate.
something I can feel. Like this is great.
Yeah.
But so I never felt that way about live shows.
Never ever.
I mean, the best live show I've seen, it's a religious experience. I mean, it was
What was the best?
what show?
Yeah. What was the most religious experience you ever had?
It with music?
Yeah.
It would have been this December 2012 at Slim's. I saw Death Grips right after No Love Deep Web came out.
Yeah.
And it was just complete mayhem.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to die for a minute.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's that's heightened.
Somebody
senses heightened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that to me came like, I'm not as impressionable when I'm doing that in my 20s
Yeah.
to have that relationship with a show.
Like now you don't?
Yeah, like right. Now it's ingrained in me to like, what's the most important part? Like, what's the highest form of music?
Mm-hmm.
To me, isn't necessarily a live show.
Yeah. It's an album.
Maybe I'm not, in a way, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's, I guess all I can speak about is my opinions and experience, and I don't know. That's to me, that's sort of my, I don't even like going to shows. Honestly, I don't go to many shows because I'm lazy and like I'd rather sit home on the couch and like.
Right. You got to be around people.
Yeah. But
I do like the idea though
the
of
people and the like standing and stuff.
The standing,
and, like,
right. The standing serious. You're standing before through the opener, you're standing in that break.
Yeah.
Then your back starts hurting.
We had this is.
Let me just say though that I do like the idea of elevating a live show.
Mm-hmm.
Like the challenge of putting on a really good live show is rad.
Yeah.
Because it's a challenge in and of itself.
What do you think about like putting on shows? You can elevating live show doesn't have to just be the band, like stage dives and or crowd surfs and like they're spinning their guitars around their necks, but like
right.
We had this interesting experience in Shanghai where we played a show at 2 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon, and it was great because we were all jet lagged. But the band actually, it worked out timing wise where they had energy and they were able to put on a good show and were personable and energetic and fun. But actually, the crowd was made up of people, I suppose like 21 to 30. 34 or something like that. I think everyone really appreciated it because it was, it wasn't like late at night where you're fighting. First of all, it wasn't late night, so you weren't, worried about going out on a work night. The show, you knew the show was going to get over early enough to get home in time to do whatever you have to do. You still had time to go out and get dinner with your friends if you wanted to. It just was so perfect, and that really made me think that like, well, maybe we should change the way that we do shows, change the timing, and I don't know why not do a Sunday afternoon show in LA if you have a fan base that likely has to work on Monday morning. We'll do the show in the afternoon at a cool spot where maybe they can get dinner and see, present. Just think about the whole presentation in a different way. And if your fan base wants to chill and sit and smoke a joint, then let them chill and smoke a joint, sit and smoke a joint. Don't force them to stand up and like sit through 3 openers. Have 0 openers. Have a DJ that plays afterwards. And so if people want to stay and drink, they can stay and drink. But make it, that's okay. So this is the thing. The thing was like, I remember from college was, you have a triangle, picture a triangle, and on one point you have convenience, and on one point you have low cost, and on the other point you have quality. Okay. So time would go under
I was thinking of the fast, cheap, and easy thing.
That's essentially what this is. But, so with this triangle, you can you have to pick two. You can't have all three.
Right.
I mean, it's very difficult to have all three, but you have to have two. So like, if you think about what the major record labels have chosen based on, just the decisions they made, they chose. And this has to do with consumer preference, but they've chosen low cost and convenience. High quality.
Over
Consumers do not care about high quality. They want convenience and low cost, because if low barrier to entry, it's low cost, and I can participate and I can get in and I can consume this stuff, and like I like this, I don't like this, go next. I like this, this is cool, yeah, but give me the next. It's just next, because there is this oversaturation of content. So I think, musicians should be aware of consumer demand, and you can't get frustrated if people aren't responding to your content based on how you're presenting it, or maybe you think that your content's not good because people aren't responding. Like, you have to present it to consumers in a way that they want to consume it. And if you have an older fan base,
right,
give it to them the way that they're going to take it,
Yeah, anything that's mass produced or, is, you're going to lose the quality there for the cost and the convenience.
Yeah. I think
that's, I like going out of my way to, there's different types of customers, there's like people who know what they want beforehand. Like they know what they want. They're going to come into the store. They're going to tell you what they want. You don't have to help them. And there's people that are cheap, people that are difficult.
Yeah. People just browsing. There's people that...
Right.
All sorts. And that is, that's an interesting thing that is an interesting tool that Facebook and social media provides you, is you can create a profile on your fans and you can better understand them and distribute your content to them in ways that they prefer. So that, that can be, you are like, spamming people in a way, but hopefully you're doing it, you're savvy enough about it so that you're not annoying people and they appreciate,
right.
Receiving that offer or whatever.
Yeah,
it's just you gotta be genuine. You gotta be genuine with what you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I just the music industry now, the major industry, just reminds me of Walmart. Just feels like Walmart.
No, yeah, it does.
It's just cheap shit, tons of it.
Yeah.
No, it's not good. Who cares? They're gonna keep shopping. Just keep giving it to them cheap, and and that was another thing that weighed on my decision to get out of music, is you're not competing based on the quality of the art. You're
But on the other hand, they call it the doldrums, right? There's like a music journalist that was really big, and he came up with the idea of the doldrums, which is when the quality, of music waxes and wanes over the decades. But what was I going to say? But on the other hand, it's also like, if you can weather a low point, those are a lot of the times, or even start in a low point.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of times the strongest things. Like, as if you could make it through the Walmart of music right now, when it does come back, you'll be way better than the next guy.
Yeah.
I think that's the other side of it too.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. The longer you can stay in it, theoretically, it's because you've figured out a way to make money doing it, or making money from something else that still allows you the time to keep doing the music stuff, you know, and there again, if you just have a calling and a passion to make music, you don't necessarily have to figure out a way to just do that, because maybe you like doing something else, and maybe that pays the bills, and maybe it allows you to earn enough to give you free time to make music. And then, there's one, I know there's like zillions of other people that, will appreciate that approach to music because they're sort of like the 9-to-5ers as well, and and again, that is a thing that social media allows you to find and target those people and create a fan base around. There's a niche. There's a niche for everything. And I just going back to, Jameson is a professional musician. He weathered the storm. He sacrificed. He built it up. He is a professional musician, and he's barely scratched the surface. So if he continues on and he continues growing, then he will be a very successful professional musician, and there's no reason that anyone else can't do that. There's no special, it's just, it's just doing it. The fact that he's doing it. And, there's this.
Have there been you'd think someone in that position where they have kind of don't most people in that position partner with like a major distribution deal or something like that, where they take part of the publishing and they give you bigger sales?
Well, no, I mean the distributor would never touch your publishing, really. I mean
like a distro deal with whatever.
Yeah,
Capital
but see, the thing is, like, distribution has changed so much because it's less and less about distributing physical goods. I mean, you needed to have really good distribution back when people were buying physical goods and there was limited shelf space.
Yeah,
you needed to get on those shelves. But now with digital, I mean, what is a major distributor doing for you? I hope, maybe they're putting money into marketing, or maybe they've got these great relationships with Spotify and they're, getting you on playlists and stuff like that. But they're actually not really doing anything. I mean, I don't believe, and I've looked into this because we were under the impression that we needed good distribution, and we use TuneCore, and TuneCore is not the greatest. They're taking the least, so you're getting the least service, and that's a trade-off that you have to decide what you want to.
Maybe not even just a distribution deal. I just know that when an artist has a vanity label offshoot of a major, it's generally a distro deal.
Yeah, they would be distributing. But and see, that's the thing is again, there's no. You could be a distributor if you know people at Spotify. Go distribute. Right. Go. Give them the content, give them the metadata attached to it, and hit them up and say, put this in, feature this. Mm-hmm. And that's what a distributor's doing. And then they're collecting, the payments, and they're dishing them out. It's not. There's no magic to distributing now. I don't think. Maybe there's.
So there's no major label magic bullet where they. That's worth it.
I don't know. Look at what Drake did with Spotify. They took over. And that's probably not the distributor that made that happen. That's a combination of everybody involved and the combination of his celebrity. But
you mean like the record-breaking numbers on Scorpion?
Sure, but I mean, the numbers were broken because they forced it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Down
that's what I was saying the whole time.
Yeah. So then I don't know. And even what he is doing is it really is hurting. It's helping him in the short term. It's hurting music in the long term, because now, Spotify streams were a metric that people use to gauge popularity, but that's the credibility of streaming numbers is so whack now that that doesn't mean anything. There's any number of services, and I know, I'm not going to say any names, but there's record-breaking streaming artists that have paid for plays.
Yeah, I have no faith in that system. It's
who
that's part of the game.
Yeah,
it's
so again, who cares?
Marketing. Yeah. Paying for streams, it's considered part of the marketing budget.
Yeah.
It's not
But those artists are at the point where they're reaching the masses, and the masses don't care, and they don't know. They don't know about that, and they don't.
It's
a
formality.
Yeah,
it's a formality in an overall, marketing plan.
Yeah,
you're not going to be a big artist if those numbers aren't there. So
it's
just part.
Yeah,
It's not. I mean, that's no surprise to me at all.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think.
We kind of had this conversation before a few weeks ago, whenever that was, and I said, "Well, you really think Bieber has however many billion Twitter followers or whatever it is?" Of course not.
Yeah.
But you can do. Have you seen that thing, Twitter Audit?
Yeah.
And they have ones for.
Yeah, Trump didn't fare so well. I don't think he was like 70-some%.
Well, they have a service that Trump used. A guy, I forget what it's called, but you can hire a crowd.
Oh yeah,
of people,
and they'll go like
they'll go do whatever you
tweet
want.
It at the same time. Yeah,
they'll go protest at your competitor. They'll go
go get on like what is it, Brickwork?
Physical crowd.
Oh
yeah.
Oh.
You can hire like a group of people,
and they'll just go.
Yeah.
Dang.
And a lot of there's a whole bunch of stuff with that with Trump, where a lot of the crowds are the counter protests and stuff. They're fake.
Wow.
They're people they're actors.
Fake news, man. That's fake news right there.
Yeah.
This is fake news podcast. Don't tune in to this. It's fake news. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I interrupted you though.
No, I don't think you did. I probably kind of said, I just really appreciate this opportunity to pour my heart out.
Dude.
And get some things off my chest.
You're talkative.
It's fun. I mean, I am passionate about it. I don't know. I just think about this stuff a lot, and lots of like, not really sleepless nights, but during all of those years managing, like I was pretty much always thinking about like, what are we not doing? What should we be doing? What are we doing well? That was my life. So I am pretty passionate and can get talkative about this stuff because it's, it was sort of life or death in a way. Or maybe not, that's being a little dramatic, but like,
What's your
life or going and getting some other job.
Right. So are you still gonna be managing this one, Miss World?
I'm helping her. I'd like to help her transition to somebody who's passionate about management. That. This is sort of another sort of like.
And also, I play guitar, so if you need a
I've thought about that, and that probably will be something at some point, and we'll talk about that off air. But when people get successful in music, like when you've invested so many years in building your network, and then you get to a point where you're like, you broke an artist, and so now you've got your system in place. You're really not trying to go back to square one with anybody else because it's painful. Those are painful years of like making nothing and so frustrating, and no one is trying to start over. You're trying to find things that you can plug into your system and run it through, and so I mean that's really another thing. I just Miss World's incredibly talented and makes really cool music and content, but like just going in this, the social media takes the fun, like going through and like getting all the social media in order and like constantly. I don't ever want to do that again. I don't want to do it. I don't want to make another cover profile photo and make another whatever graphic for anything. Like, there's just too many. There's so many things. I mean,
yeah,
we forgot about Bandcamp forever, and then went and refreshed the Bandcamp, and oh wow, there's a whole community of fans on Bandcamp. And
really?
Yes,
Bandcamp's leaving money on the table.
Absolutely, you should be doing Bandcamp. You should be doing everything. You should be doing SoundCloud. You should be doing everything, and because you should be doing everything, that's it's just a lot of little work. It's getting those pennies and dollars everywhere, and it all adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just not, I just don't want to, I thought I'd want to do it, but I just didn't. I was like, no, don't want to do this. Don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's understandable. I couldn't imagine, Scooter Braun starting over.
Yeah, well, he's successful enough. He's got a whole army of people that are doing it for him. I mean, you got to develop. I mean, I look at I don't know. There's some managers that I've talked to that are like, yeah, artistic development doesn't matter anymore because you can just artificially create hype around something and blow it up overnight. And I think the terms breaking an artist and blowing up an artist are these really loaded terms where it's well, what happens after they blow up? You've literally blown them up into a million pieces, and then it just showers down, and then it's done. Or you break them, you broke an artist.
Like a
I've
horse.
seen so many artists that they were broken, and then they literally broke. They just were it wasn't. There's no foundation there to fall back on after you break. You've got to have a foundation and then regroup and then go break again. I've always thought those were really funny terms to describe success in the music industry.
Yeah, it's kind of a buzzword.
Yeah. Curate's a buzzword. That was I always try to identify the buzzword of the year. Maybe curate was last year. What's this one? Influencer? Maybe influencer is the word of 2018.
That makes me cringe.
Yeah. Curate was last year. Curate.
Influencer. Cool. We covered some ground.
Yeah,
Adam.
that was fun. I feel like I just had a therapy session and it didn't even cost me anything.
It's got Healing Powers, the
Yeah, it
podcast.
does. My gosh. Wow. Yeah. Thank you.
It's cheaper than I guess it's not really cheaper than a therapy.
No, it is. It's just cheaper. Right?
It is?
Yeah, it has to be.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, unless you're sending me an invoice that I don't know about.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe, maybe my insurance will cover this. Probably not.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was cool.
All right.
You've been listening to the Cameron Adair podcast made by me, Cameron Adair. Thanks to Adam. Adam isn't on social media, but you can get in touch with him online if you're interested in artist management or Chinese entertainment markets. You can support this show by throwing down a much appreciated $1 at patreon.com/Cameron_Adair, or by writing a quick review on iTunes and by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.